Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to the Transatlantic Call-In Show, where you get to talk to real-life trans people about any type of topics and questions here on the line. So happy that you are here today. Lux, how are you today?
I think I'm doing okay actually. I slept pretty well last night. I just got the pot roast going, so I don't have to cook later tonight. I've got some gaming with friends planned later today. My friend, so we moved up from Kansas to Oregon in January last year, and then through the course of the year, we keep like telling all of our friends how great it is, and like I'm low key trying to convince people, to move up here, and we did successfully get someone to move up here, and then he's dating someone now. So we're like hanging out on Sea of Thieves tonight with my friend and his person that he's seeing, I think. So yeah, love is in the air. Things are
It's great.
beautiful. We're about to transition into fucking rainy season. And so I'm
Yeah.
I'm hype. I'm here for it. Yeah. How are you
Okay.
doing? All things
I
considered right
mean,
now.
I mean, yeah, everything is a little chaotic on my end, but when is it not? But I will say that with things that are changing in my life, I'm gonna be around more on the line. So that's gonna be exciting. We'll be doing a lot more calling it now. My schedule is clearing up if I like it or not. I'm sure
Yep.
you'll hear the news about it at some point. But yeah, it's been a lot. It was funny because sometimes I listen to Subway takes like when I'm just like scrolling on like YouTube Shorts, and it's
Sure.
like one of the Subway takes was like sometimes it's okay for your life to be completely turned upside down, and I'm like, well, if I like it or not, I guess that's where I'm at.
I think I saw that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, it's like my life is going topsy and the turvy, but it's fine. I get to spend more time with myself and my thoughts and all of the things that are good. So I'm very, very excited about the next journey. And honestly, I feel very privileged because I can be like, I could take a few months off and be completely fine. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, what is this life? Where is I had no idea that I was able to like grab hold of my life like that, but that's what it's gonna be.
Hell
So,
yeah.
anyways, I don't know if that was vague posting enough there,
It's about
without
to be a
saying
new chapter
a
where I have
new
a lot more
chapter.
available free time. I think that's
Yes.
plenty of vague posting.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So I'm sure if you follow queer news, you're gonna find out that one major organization is losing a lot of employees. So
Mhm.
it's not my choice, I'll tell you that. But it is something that I'll take. Anyways, so if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, what are you doing? Do that now. Because when you do that, it allows the algorithms to kick up, and so that way we can get more calls. And this is your opportunity to make some phone calls and ask us some issues that you may have. Is it you don't believe that trans people belong in sports, don't need access to healthcare, or just should it exist in public life in general? We're happy to take those calls. And if you have any political stuff, I'm always happy to take political questions as well on, especially if you think Trump is doing a good job. I'm always happy to have that conversation as well.
It's
Um,
interesting too, because we don't like ever specifically talk about religion. Sorry, by the way, everybody, if you're
yeah.
bothered by me looking all the way over here, it's because I'm producing. Um, but oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. I got completely derailed
You
by.
you 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 were talking about uh oh my God, now I forgot what
The
you were just
ADHD.
chatting
Oh my
about.
God, I'm so
I know,
sorry.
I
I've
know, it's
infected both
it's
of
fine.
us.
You did. You absolutely did. It
Oops.
was
Oops.
about political calls. It was about it was about
Oh,
religion.
we
It was
don't
about
talk about
religion.
religion a lot on this
Yeah.
show, but like I don't mind it. And like so
Yeah.
I've been posting clips and stuff on my channel, and someone was like in the comments saying like I don't love that every religious person just caught astray in this conversation. And I was like, "Oh, to be clear, in context, that's not a stray. That's what we do here. It's just that this show happens to focus on like trans content, but we're coming at it from the perspective of skeptics and atheists. You will never hear us making the argument that God made me this way, or I mean, sometimes I will for the sake of like fun,
For the
like
sake of argument.
yeah, yeah. But you're not going to hear me sincerely argue like that we have a soul, that is like a gendered soul or anything. Like, it's not going to happen. And it is an affront to me personally, a little bit, when a religious person comes in and tries to call me delusional. I'm like, oh, that's a game you're ready to play now. Let's talk about it. So yeah, I do think it would be okay to take more religious calls. We just don't
Yeah,
really get them very much. But
we really
sometimes I'm
don't.
sure there's the crossover of like God thinks you're an abomination. Let's get some of those
Oh
calls.
yeah, that would be fun.
How
Let's do
about some
that.
of those calls?
Yeah,
How about a God doesn't make mistakes call, you know?
yeah. That sounds interesting because the line is at its root a secular channel. It is about skepticism, and it's how I even got to know Matt Dillahunty and Jimmy Snow and all of these folks when he went by Mr. Atheist. And we're actually having a fundraiser for the Secular Student Alliance next month, which is super exciting. And please do join and be a part of that. But that was the first club I joined in college was the Secular Student Alliance, and that was like my first circle of friends. And got to play a lot of D&D. But it's so important to have those chapters in colleges. So yeah, I was learning, from call-in shows back in the how to argue with like the Westboro Baptist Church people that would come to my campus at San Diego State during Comic.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen the real signs that they actually wave around. So it's good
Yeah.
times, good times, good
I've been
times.
considering getting involved with SSA because I'm in college now. And
Oh, you should.
yeah, and there do seem to be like TPUSA type groups. So it's just like
Yeah.
this is the thing. Like, SSA is great and everything, but I think it's so much more important. And we have an upcoming fundraiser. It should be in September, I believe, like the weekend of the
Yes,
19th. Y'all have to check on
I
me
think
on
so.
that. But we fundraise for the Secular Student Alliance every year, as well as the Recovering from Religion Foundation, because we need to counteract like we need to counteract religion's influence on young people if what religion is in the popular zeitgeist right now is fucking Christian nationalism. We would not be in this situation that we're in right now in some ways. Like, I mean, people will be like, Stalin, secular takeover, whatever, blah blah blah. But the situation would not be as uniquely shitty as it is right now if it weren't for the fact that these people are able to use like a religious argument
Yeah.
to justify like taking over the government and limiting people's rights and religious justifications against trans people. Mostly, we're not seeing those legally because that's like a clearer thing that the courts would more clearly be like, obviously, you're imposing your religious beliefs on people. But I'm sure that some of you out there would love to call us at 720-619-2288 and make
Yeah,
that argument.
absolutely. So, let's go into last week's poll.
Yeah, this one.
Yep. Is cutting off parents sometimes the answer for trans people? And not surprising, 97% says yes and 3% say no. I think that the no, in my opinion, is the folks that want to give their parents a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Because I did give my family a little bit more time. And then there are people that after you give them enough time, then you're just like, well, I guess this isn't going to work out. Have a very good life, and we're just gonna move on. So what about you, Lex? You have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a tough spot because I've cut off one of my parents, but it had nothing to do with me being trans. It had everything to do with her being abusive. And then I've kind of not totally cut off my other parent, but kind of really severely limited contact with that parent because of the fact that they neglected my younger siblings. And I'm so mad and I can't deal with it until my sibling moves out of my house. After I
Yeah.
adopted them, like I just feel like I need them to be out in their next space and then I can like start to process that. So I feel like, obviously we are millennials are the generation of cutting off our parents. We kickstarted this thing. Um, and yeah, so I obviously think that, like I don't see there being an obligation to stick around with your parents just because they're your parents. Like, yeah, they'll be old someday and need someone to take care of them. But if they fucked up your relationship bad enough, you're not obligated to do that. Uh, so yeah, I think, yeah, if you want to try, then try. And if you don't, then don't. And that's
Well, I
simple.
I hate to say this, but I think boomers are the OG people of kicking out family members
Oh,
because
oh,
they're the
sure.
ones that kick out family members and their own kids for
Sure,
not for
yeah.
being
Cutting off
queer.
parents. Yeah, they didn't cut off their parents, but they were great at cutting off their kids. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And cutting off kids from either not being religious anymore, being queer, not taking over the family job. Like, there's so many reasons, like that they would getting a tattoo, like people just like,
Growing your hair out or cutting your
yeah,
hair or not
yeah,
getting a job. Like, I don't
exactly.
know. I feel like,
Yeah,
yeah,
or
it's such
not
a
getting
trope.
married, like
Yeah.
not having kids. Like there are so many things that boomer parents would kick their kids out for, and now we're the ones getting ladled with or straddled with the
Yeah.
millennials don't care about their parents, and it's just like you didn't care about us. It's
Yeah.
like,
And the thing is too, and I remember Jack mentioning this last week, that the sad part of this is that like what 40% of homeless people under the age of 18 in the United States of America are LGBTQ, and like that's like part of why they're homeless is like they were kicked out for that. So if almost half of all people under the age of 18 who are homeless are LGBTQ, like that clearly signals more of a problem with an older generation cutting off their children. Um, and seeming to think that this is going to get compliance out of the kid, that it's going to unqueer them in some way. So, yeah, obviously, we that's part of our advice with coming out is if you want to come out to your parents, make sure you're safe. Make sure they're not going to cut you off financially, that you're not going to be like without health care or that you'll have to drop out of college or whatever, um, and compromise your whole future because, they didn't react well to you coming out or whatever. So, yep, the answer is yes,
yeah.
sometimes.
Yes, sometimes that's the answer. So next week's poll, or this week's poll, sorry.
Oh, I got to put a version
Um,
of this up in chat. Hold on.
okay. Will we see a record number of trans people elected to public office this year? I chose this one. I'm really curious to see what people think. Because I am very, very intimately familiar with these numbers. So I want to hear what people think. Okay,
Okay.
so that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and
We'll
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 talk about it
talk
more in a
about it.
minute.
Yep, we will talk about it more in a minute. So no hints given. So you're just gonna go straight into it.
Yeah. Y'all can vote on it in
Awesome.
the chat now.
Yep, absolutely. So perfect. So it looks like we have a call coming in. Maybe we should wait for that one to get screened. If you see that, and then or yeah, let's wait for the one getting screened now.
Sure. Oh,
Um, uh, uh,
that one I think is
uh,
struggling with the web caller. Sorry if the web caller is
remember,
being finicky today, y'all.
yeah, remember the web caller is really specifically used for people outside of the country.
Yeah.
So if you are calling in the United States, please use your phone number. It's a more stable line, and it's just better for everybody if you use that line.
Yeah.
So if you did call back, or if you are calling,
It's from the
and
Netherlands. So, yeah, so this person in
okay,
particular is international caller.
okay,
But yeah, you
um,
guys got to check your microphone settings and everything. You got to if you're calling from your phone, you got to make sure your phone screen stays on. If the phone screen goes black, then
yeah,
microphone stops working. So sorry, it's so finicky, everybody. But yeah, 720-619-2288. If you have a phone that can call, we want to hear from you. We're both trans and we're both kind of experts about it, and we want to talk to you. So
yeah,
let's get
sounds
this
good.
conversation. Oh, and if you're just hanging out, if you haven't hit like yet, do that really quick. It's quick, it's easy, it helps the show immensely, like a lot. And then if you click share and then click copy, that also helps. If you want to paste the link somewhere, that would be additionally helpful. But as far as YouTube is concerned, just click copy, and that's thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, game in the system. And also we read super chats at the end of the show. So $5 or more, we'll read your super chat. And here on the Transatlantic Collins Show, we have a fun little game that if you type in or if you make sure you put hashtag Team Josie or hashtag Team Lux, or something with the hashtag that indicates you're voting for one of us, we will have a little competition, and the loser of that competition then has to then debate a silly topic. And it's always a fun time when we try that. And it looks like that person from the Netherlands is still not unable to connect.
Yeah.
So do you want to just go
I think
ahead
we
and
might
take
just
the
have
first
to.
call?
Yeah. But just
All
y'all,
right.
don't forget, listen, okay, let's just do a quick little run through. What are the different topics that are on the banner, or what are we wanting to talk to people about? We are pro kids having access to transition related care. We're pro adults having access to that care as well. We think adults should be able to update their documentation to reflect their current gender identity and not the sex that they were assigned at birth. Um, let's see, what else do I believe that's controversial to people who are stupid?
Trans people should participate in the sport of their gender identity. That's another one that I guess would be
Did you say
controversial.
sports? Yeah, yeah, sports.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sports, also making sure that trans people can just go into public spaces.
Yeah.
That includes prisons, bathrooms, dressing rooms, locker rooms, all of those places trans
That
people should be
comport
able to
with
have
their
access.
gender.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And also, if you are somebody who has been following that crazy news about the WNBA scandal, where there's a like a mediocre NBA player that is trying to pretend that he's a woman to try to get drafted.
Is there really?
Uh, there is, yeah. You didn't know about this?
Okay, so I knew about the WNBA protest, and then I saw people kind of responding to that by saying there literally aren't even any trans women in the WNBA, and they're not even trying to get into the
No,
WNBA. So at the
no.
same time as that is happening, there is a, what do we call
Cis
this?
guy.
There's a word for this. It's like psyop is not the right word, but like that's what it is, right? It's like
Yeah, essentially.
it's a deliberate obfuscation. He's lying about being
Yeah.
trans and is just trying to,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
the WNBA has already told him, "Sorry, dude, you're not trans, and you
I mean,
don't
they
you don't
have,
comport."
do they not have the
They have
requirements?
guidelines. Yeah, they have
Yeah.
guidelines. So
Like
if the
2 years
guy
of
wants to,
hormones, etc.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's put him on hormones. Let's legally change the name. Let's do the whole thing, right?
Do
But
you know that Ben Shapiro movie?
yeah,
They
that's where it's
tried,
coming from.
they wanted to make it a documentary originally.
Yeah,
If y'all don't know, there was a movie that the Daily
Lady
Wire crowd,
Ballers.
Lady Ballers, put out a year ago or so, and they it's a fictional movie about basically a bunch of guys who join a women's league so that they can win, and then they lose at the end because the very final boss team is a bunch of black guys who also joined
Oh
a
no, because
women's
you got to
league in
throw in
order
the
to win, because you
racism in
got to
there
throw the
too.
racism in there too.
Yeah.
But it was originally planned to be a documentary. But the thing is that they couldn't find any cis men who were willing to undergo hormone treatment, which all of these sports leagues require trans women to do. So it kind of just completely blows out of the water the idea that men would take these medicines in order to succeed in women's sports. Like that's a obviously false narrative, but to have it proven so starkly is just really funny.
It is really funny, and apparently that's what like Fox News and like I guess what is the other one that's like super like it's that
Newsmax?
Newsmax. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Fox News and
Yeah.
Newsmax have just been running this story over and over and over like it's an actual thing that's gonna happen, and it is so bad. And so yeah, it is so hilarious because it's obviously some guy that just wants a lot of attention. And in the WNBA already said no. So yeah. All right. So do you want to go ahead and take our first call?
Yeah.
And do you want to take the one that came in first?
Um, yeah, let's just take number one.
Okay. Perfect. Hello, we have Cedric from Alaska. You are live on the line with Lux and Josie on the Transatlantic Call-In Show. You wanted to discuss about a job application and a selection for male and female. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I was applying to a job last week, I think, and under the options for gender, it had both male, it had male, female, trans male, and trans female, and I was wondering if that's like discriminatory singling out, or that's just like something, an accommodation that should be made?
That's a
Was it
very
an optional
interesting one.
field?
Could you repeat that? I didn't hear that.
Was the field optional? Like sometimes it's a required field, like you must fill this out, and sometimes you can just skip it. And then there's like maybe a prefer not to say option. What was the
It was
setup?
required, but there was also a don't want to disclose the option.
Yeah. I mean, I've never hired anyone personally. And I personally like might not answer that question during the hiring process because I'm like, why are you asking during the hiring process? But I can kind of understand, like, for the purposes of like diversity initiatives, like maybe a company does want to keep track of whether it is hiring LGBTQ staff. But like, is there also a section of the thing now where we're asking like about, are you, are you married? Like, are you heterosexual? Like, yeah, if we're not asking those other questions, then it does feel like we're just violating HIPAA a little bit.
Yeah. And sort
Okay.
of, well, what kind of job was it?
It is just like a sort of like a study group leader slash tutor thing.
Interesting. It's a very interesting question because usually like in job applications that I've seen is like they'll ask you what your gender is if you want to disclose it, and then people can put whatever they want in that line or in that space. Um, it is interesting that that's the way they ask the question: male, female, trans man, trans woman. It's like that's a pretty interesting
I'm
one.
gonna
So
see if I
it's
can pull that thing up again, just so if I don't remember if there was another option after that. Continue
okay.
though.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, at least they let you say no preference. It's really interesting because usually when you apply for a job, you have to, or not apply, but once you get hired for the job in the United States, you have to, do your W-2, which you have to show forms of identification. And you have to let the organization see that. And so that's going to be coming, that's how that usually shows up. I do think it's interesting. And it's usually just biographical information, right? It's like your address, like all these different things, so they know for their own, who's applying and things like that. But it is a very interesting thing. Um, and what's really interesting is when I apply for jobs, and maybe that's because of the nature of work that I do, I usually just, read their job requirements and submit a resume and a cover letter. So I guess for jobs that ask for like a specific application, that would be interesting to
This is a University of Alaska thing that I was
mm,
applying to. They have their own
interesting.
somewhat Byzantine application system.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Well, I mean, if it's a university, hopefully they're being uh equal about it. Usually at the bottom of these applications they say we are an equal opportunity employer, and all those things shouldn't be held against you. But yeah, that's really interesting that they had it, sectioned out like that, because
Hmm.
if it was like cis woman, cis man, non-binary, trans woman, trans man, that would be interesting as well to see like all of the different options in that way. But yeah, it's a I've never
Yeah, reading the form, it's female, male, agender, genderqueer, transgender, female, transgender, male, non-binary, or prefer not to disclose are the options, and then has other stuff for like Hispanic or Latino race and uh, date of birth and stuff.
Oh, you said this was at a college. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense to me now. I was like only half paying attention for a second, and then I just connected that. For a second, you were like listing all these different things, and I was making this face like, "Ew, why are you asking?" And then I was like, "Oh wait, hold on, it's a college." That makes so much more sense. Yeah, I think I would be much more comfortable with like answering for at a college, like because I would
Okay.
assume that it has more to do with like yeah, maybe the college has diversity practices that it's trying to adhere to represent its student body better. Uh, yeah, like yeah, I could see, or maybe they're trying to fulfill a resource officer position that like a teacher fulfills this role sometimes. I don't know, but yeah, that would make more sense to me. I don't know if it's discriminatory. we need to ask Billy Sipes because I guess Billy works in HR. Someone was like, Billy Sipes has the answer. He's a frequent chatter that we have around here. But yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
really sure about the
Okay.
legality. I know that I wouldn't be comfortable in any situation unless it was a college, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
answering truly
Okay.
that I have a non-binary gender identity. Like I'm not gonna be gung-ho about answering that question during the hiring process in most situations.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. Anything else?
No, not really. Just wanted to check in with someone who actually, or some people who had actual experience with this stuff before I just made the determination of whether or not I wanted to bother HR about it.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could always just ask. I mean, I don't think there'd be any harm in being like, "Hey, this is interesting." But no, I if you're trying to get the job, just, fill it out, apply, do the thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I already got it. It's just I wanted to check if I wanted to complain to HR about this. Um,
Yeah.
because it didn't affect me. I'm already hired and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
Oh, if you're like wondering the reason, I think Josie is kind of suggesting like it probably wouldn't be harmful to be like, hey, I'm just curious in the hiring process, like why is it that we ask about gender identity in this kind of specific way? Like, what is there something at the company that this is helping or whatever? Like, I don't think that it would be outside the scope of what's acceptable. But I'm autistic, so I don't know how business works. I don't know how corporations work. They might not like that.
Yeah.
okay.
So I would definitely just, just ask and see, what their experience and how they came to the conclusion of adding that in that way and go from there.
I will do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. We are
The lines are struggling today. Listen,
they
guys,
are
okay.
struggling.
Here's the thing. I'm producing today, which means that Jess, our wonderful screener, is screening for us today, but she is only going to be here for another hour and a half. So we really need to pack those lines full of hopefully contentious, spicy calls before she has to leave, because then I'm not going to be able to get any more calls for the last, however, like the last half hour of the show or whatever. So listen, 720-619-2288. Uh, we need to talk to some people who disagree with us. Like we're both trans, I'm non-binary. We want to talk about trans women are women. Trans women belong in women's sports. Trans women belong in women's bathrooms. Trans kids deserve health care. I mean, if you want to get freaky, we can talk about like trans men need access to abortion care. We want to go a little crazy. We want to get a little crazy with it. Get a little crazy with it. Talking about trans men and how these anti-trans bathroom bills are forcing trans men into women's bathrooms. You are putting men in women's bathrooms with these bills. So
Yep. Or we can get even spicier about like the dating scene, right?
oh,
Like if you're just like, oh, trans people should disclose the second you walk in the door, like let's talk about that, because that's always interesting as well. Yeah, so are we ready to kind of see the results of this week's poll so far?
yeah, let's take a look at the poll. Let some people get in the lines. Again, 720-619-2288. And we have a web caller in the description with the link if you are from outside the US. Let's see, what button am I looking at? I'm looking at this button. Will we see a
All
record
right.
number of trans people elected to public office this year? Josie, tell us about it.
I will say yes. We have a very, very long list, and of people that I know of, I think there's like 25 going into November alone. And it is incredibly exciting because this is going to be a record number year for how many trans people are going to be elected. These are people in Florida, people possibly in Georgia, people who are running in Ohio, people who are running in, Michigan, Washington. And these are state level seats, local seats. These, of course, we have Sarah McBride running for reelection again. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff. And I think we're probably going to shatter the record of like non-binary people that are going to be elected this year as well. Just on that statistic alone. So it's going to be man, it would be wild to say that we're gonna have like maybe, the first Georgian, the first Floridian in, Ohio. We are definitely gonna get Michigan. We're definitely gonna get Washington. So possibly even Maryland, even though it's not me. There is a lot of historic bursts that are going to be happening. So I would put it around 25 to 30 people that are going to be going into November after winning a primary, which is also super cool. So they're already winners. And that's so yeah, I think that's what it is. What did our chat think?
It looks like the chat says 79% yes and
Okay.
21% no, with only
I think I gave too
240
much of a
votes.
clue. I
Yeah,
think I gave too
maybe.
much of a clue. I was like, maybe we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I believe it will be a record-breaking year
And there
for
is
the
a version
trans
of this on the
community.
posts page on our YouTube channel as well. If you guys go to the
Yes.
YouTube channel and then slide over to where it says posts, click that. You can vote and then comment if you want to add your thoughts to this, and let us know what you think. Honestly, the crazy thing too is that it doesn't even take very many trans people getting elected for it to be a record-breaking year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, which is such a it's like a little bit sad in terms of like that's what our life has been like up until this point, but it's also a little bit inspiring because guess what, trans people? If you run and you win, you are contributing to a historic overturning of the status quo, politically speaking, representing trans people. And like trans representation would be disproportionate as well, in the sense that, listen, if you have, like Sarah McBride is in the House. So if she is elected, and there's I don't know how many representatives there are from Delaware, probably not like a lot.
Just
Um,
one.
so there's only one. Okay,
Yeah.
so she is from a population that is representing like 1% of the actual population of America, maybe optimistically
It's
up to
1 million
2%.
people.
But she is like, instead of being like, oh, uh, uh, you know, she's a percentage representative of trans people, she is like disproportionately now representing trans people, like by per capita population. Does that make sense
Yes.
what I'm trying to say?
Yes. She is the most representative. So she is the trans person with the most people that she represents out of any other trans person. If I would have won
Yeah.
my election, 1% away from winning that,
Mhm.
I would have been representing 1.1 million people because the county of Montgomery County is huge here in Maryland.
Yeah.
So yes, so she is representing a large portion. Now
And
we
even
did
in the
have
House, like she is one trans person amongst 300 something
yeah,
representatives.
400
That's a
something.
greater percentage than the population of trans people in the United
Oh
States.
yeah.
So even just
Yeah.
having one trans person changes our representation by an enormous margin. Sorry
Yep,
I just
that's
wanted to
right.
finish getting my thought out
Well,
there.
no, it's fine. And so I know some people are asking like, which one? Who are the people in states? Somebody asked, Maryland, Illyria Stanley is the person. Washington State, it's like
Mhm.
Jalen Scott. You have Joanne Whaley in Michigan. She was a former pastor. And so she was also attacked because they tried to get her off the ballot because they tried to use her dead name instead of her actual name.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those.
Yeah, I know a couple of them. Then you also have Wisconsin with Nina Martinez Hernandez. I mean, sorry, not Hernandez, Martinez Rutherford, who is Wisconsin. She won her primary. She's definitely going to be going to the state house, being the first. And then we have, let's see, just trying to figure out. We have Queenie Perez in Florida, who's running to be the Soil and Water Conservation District 1 in Florida. Like that is something. That is great that she can maybe grab a seat there. But yeah, there's a lot of really incredible human beings. There's Alexis Hoffglen in Colorado as well, another trans person, because Brianna Tatone unfortunately did not win the opportunity to run for treasurer in Colorado, and who's a representative there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of human beings that are incredible and are going to be making history. It's really, really, really deeply exciting. Ariana Childrey is the one running an Ohio State House as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a really great group of human beings, and I didn't list them all, or it'd be really annoying to just say a list of a bunch of names. But those
It's
are
at
the
all
ones of
different
note.
levels.
It
Because you
is.
guys, you
It
can
is.
run for shit like school board.
Or
Guys,
Soil and Water Conservation District 1 in Florida, and
district
she's gonna win.
comptroller, listen.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't even
exactly.
know what a comptroller does. I just know that it's a thing that comes up a lot in these
It is.
conversations.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is a thing. It's a lot of times it deals with taxes and things like that. So those are important. Those are important seats. So really just know that even as we are deeply under attack in our community, there is still a lot of representation that can be won across the country in every
Yeah.
corner of the country. We also have somebody running Alaska. That's right. I forgot, as well. And her name is, let's see, Jessica Koltrick. Oh, wait, Kol, Kolarchick Robin. Yeah, Kolarchick. That's what
The
it is.
dyslexia is so
It's
tough.
so tough. And then we also have, trans woman Bobby Robertson running in Kansas.
That's exciting.
Like
I love to
I
hear that
know.
shit. I didn't know about that until you
Yes.
just said that.
Yes. Yes, she's awesome.
That's
And,
cool.
she's like this like really big labor union person, and
Which we
somebody
need
who's
in
just
Kansas. Oh my God.
yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
dumb how much I still have a we about Kansas. It's gonna be 2 years before we know it. It's gonna be 2 years since I left there, and I'm still
Yeah.
like, man. Anyway,
I know. And then we have like people running for re-election like Emma Curtis in Kentucky, So there's just so many amazing human beings because I'm not even counting the people who are getting re-elected outside of Sarah McBride. Like there's so many people who are already in office that are getting re-elected too. Like this is going to be a historic year
mhm,
for trans representation even in the face of 2026 Donald Trump. Like this
yeah.
is it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. And I think that a lot of the hatred that is happening for against Republicans and MAGA people in general is going to actually carry some people through that had a low chance of winning any other year, but just because they're the Democrat on the ballot against a Republican nothing, like it's going to push people over the edge. I think there's going to be a lot of Cinderella stories.
I actually wanted to ask you, since you're about to find yourself with a more free time, are you
Yes.
going to expand on your like I know Zoe Zephyr was doing like a hey, call me
Mhm.
for a 15-minute consultation on what you need to do to run for office. Are you going to
Oh,
be looking to kind of do more of that since
I
because we want more
probably
people
am.
to run?
Yeah, because that's what I was doing with the work that I was doing at the national level with the organizational support. But that seems like something I probably could do again and just keep my calendarly open
Yeah.
and alive and help people because that's I call it my little garden. Like I tend
Yeah.
my garden of candidates and I
Yes.
sometimes I plant seeds and then that little sprout happens and then I, baby the sprout to get onto the stalk and go all the way up. And
Yeah.
and I know a lot of people who that I've talked to that had no thought in the world about running for office and now they're about to win a state seat.
Yeah.
It's just and be the first to do it in their state. And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I remember when I asked you to run and you said no way."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now there they are, right? It's just like, yeah.
It's
So
it's
it's
just so good to
exciting.
get out there, and I want to encourage people to volunteer even if you don't feel confident about running. Find out if you have a local DSA chapter and start
Mhm.
volunteering and showing up. You will make friends, you will make connections. You'll help your brain in terms of getting off your fucking phone all the time. Get out there
Yeah.
and make a difference.
And I almost forgot, a fan of the show, Aiden Swallow, is
Oh,
running for Arizona House district as well. And she won her primary, so she's going in with a good shot of winning an Arizona seat, which is another historic first. I
yeah.
could just go down this list all day.
Yeah.
Like it's such an exciting group of human beings that really are gonna change the world. It's pretty fucking cool.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited. But we do have somebody waiting that I would love to talk to. So, y'all, Let's get to that.
All right, and
Don't forget
I'm
to hit the like button.
guessing.
Do it now.
Let's
I was
see.
looking at number
Okay, let's
3.
go. That's the one I'm looking at too.
Mhm.
All right, we have Harvey calling in from Canada, wants to talk about trans people in society and wants to challenge our point of view. You are live on the line with Lux and Josie. Tell us about it.
Hey, how are you guys today?
Doing well.
Chillin'.
Good.
So yeah.
No, I just seen you had a prompt up earlier that stated that transgenderism is natural, and I just kind of wanted to know what your justification is for that. How do you back that up? What makes it natural?
That trans people have existed throughout history. It is the understanding that someone who is assigned a certain sex at birth exists as the gender that is, not aligned with that sex assignment at birth. And yeah, it is natural. It's existed, and having a transgender identity is something that exists in nature.
Yeah. It's like it has
Okay,
happened for a long time, and it keeps happening even in societies and in families where that stuff isn't talked about or encouraged. Not only not encouraged, but like not talked about, not allowed to be talked about. So yeah, I feel pretty confident that it's just something that's happening within people, and anything that's happening inside of us is natural because we're biological beings.
so okay, fair enough. So by that logic, schizophrenia has existed throughout all of human history, even though it wasn't always recognized as a disorder. But having schizophrenia is natural by your
Yeah.
definition.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
is
supposed to be a
natural.
Okay,
gotcha?
fair enough.
Because it is.
No, that's perfect. That's perfectly fair and reasonable. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you meant by natural. Um, I actually just did a research essay for school on the causes of teenage transgender identity, and I came across some statistics through doing my research, and I'm just in regards to transgender individuals in society. I came across some statistics according to a study by uh, Oceani et al. That indicated that transgender and gender diverse individuals, I'm reading verbatim from my essay here, transgender and gender diverse individuals face disproportionately high mental health burdens, including a 41% lifetime prevalence of suicide attempts, binge drinking up to 61%, and a 33% prevalence of tobacco use. So I'm just wondering, based off of those statistics alone, is transgender identity conducive to an individual's mental health?
Well, do you know why that trans people have a different mental health, like more struggles with mental health? Did you get into the causes of that?
I did get into certain causes of teenage. My focus from my essay, my focus was primarily on teenage transgender identity.
Sure. So what did you
Bullying
find?
was listed as yeah. So
Okay.
bullying was listed as as one major factor. Familial events and lack of familial solidarity was listed as another factor.
So
There
Harvey, I'm really
are
curious. Given Harvey, I want to get a question in here because I'm
yeah.
just kind of absorbing what you're saying, and I want to reflect and make sure I understand what we're going to. So it's really interesting
Of
to me,
course.
and I'm curious where you land on this, Harvey. Why is it that you found in your research that people being shitty to trans kids was what caused them to have a poor mental health outcome, and yet your question that you came to at the end of that research was, is trans identity really good for people? Instead of like, are people being mean to trans people really good for trans people? Like, why is it that you've landed on like, is trans identity conducive to a good life and good mental health outcomes? Why is that the place you've
Well,
landed?
Well, I landed there, and I would just want to clarify. I formed that in the form of I phrased that in the form of a question, not in the form of a statement.
Sure.
So that's the first thing.
I'm saying that you
But
have landed at a question that doesn't make any sense to me. If you observed in your research for this paper, which also, why were you writing this paper? That's weird. but I'll accept it. So you read the research
It's
and you
weird.
concluded
It's weird that I
you
was
can.
writing about it's
Yeah, it is. I don't know why you would do that. But
because it
so
because it was listed as one of the topics I could choose from in writing
I'm
my
curious.
essay, and I thought it was
Well,
an
What was the
interesting topic
class?
to dive into, given that
like, was it?
what
I'm
was the
guessing it was
what
like
was the
a
class?
behavioral class, like a behavioral
No, it
studies
was
class.
just
Was
no,
Yeah.
it was an English class, introductory composition, and I had a list of topics to choose from, and that's just the one that stuck out to me as the most interesting amongst the other topics that I could choose from, and it's
Okay,
a topic that I
fascinating.
okay,
didn't
so
know
that
a
makes
lot
sense.
about.
So my question
Sure.
that I would like to get back to, because it's really important to me to figure this out. When you found in your research that the thing that was worsening outcomes for trans children was transphobia, why is it that your question is trans identity conducive to positive mental health? Why is your interrogation in your question about trans identity and not about transphobia or like how we should teach children about this or how we should reduce bullying? You've landed at a really fucked up point, in my opinion. If you found in your
Okay,
research that bullying was the thing that made trans people's health worse, and you're like, but maybe trans identity is the problem. Can you see why that's a
I
problem for
like
me?
for sure, but I just think there's a point of misunderstanding there. What my research indicated was that, and and forgive me because I wrote this paper months ago, so I just pulled it up while I was waiting to be
Yeah,
ringed
please.
into the show here.
Hmm.
I'm just pulling
Go
it
for
up.
it.
Don't worry, I'm pulling up my study
Okay,
right now.
fair enough. I got it right here. But
Yeah.
so I'll just read verbatim here because I think there was a misunderstanding. So I wrote in another study conducted by Sarah Jaske et al. 2023. Not only are transgender youth significantly likely to experience bullying than cisgender youth, they experience more severe mental health symptoms because of bullying. Particularly, transmasculine youth experience the gravest of psychological symptoms, even though they experience less bullying relative to their trans feminine peers. Thus, while transgender identification may act as a psychological shield to the temporal, it is not without its consequences. The results of both studies, one speaking to transgender, one speaking to gender. Okay, well, that's kind of related to bullying, so I'm not going to go there yet. It was about the next point was about gender discrimination. So what my research indicated was that sometimes bullying preceded transgender identification. So it seemed evident to me, at least vaguely, that sometimes the transgender identification could be used as a potential coping mechanism. So my question was, is that healthy? Because
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Okay. Let me
is
make
the
sure I
case
understand what you're
that
saying. I want to make sure I understand what you're
okay.
saying. So, what you're proposing is because in some cases, kids were being bullied before they outwardly identified as trans. So, your question is maybe trans kids are identifying as trans as a way of coping with the fact that they were already being bullied. Is that the question?
I think yes, I think it's in some cases that's probably the case according to the research that I've discovered.
Okay, yeah, but there is like more precise research into like I don't know. I don't know. I struggle with this because I feel like you're speculating on something and it's like, yeah, cool, but like I don't really see an epidemic of this and it really also is like falling into this area of like rapid onset gender dysphoria myth that is like it's
Yeah,
weird.
the
So
rapid
it's
onset hypothesis. Yeah.
Harvey, I want to try to explain where I'm coming from here. It's really weird and
Okay.
upsetting to me as a trans person when a cisgender person has this like kind of obsessive curiosity with us and they start interrogating whether trans identity is actually bad for us. This has nothing to do with you. It's weird and creepy and paternalistic for you to be like, maybe some teenagers are only trans because they're trying to cope with being bullied. Like, okay, I was a trans teenager and I was like, oh, I hit so many of the markers, like I'm realizing as an adult that I'm autistic. If I had been diagnosed as autistic as a kid, guess what? I would have fallen into that rapid onset gender dysphoria myth. I had a bad relationship with my mom. She was abusive. And Like, neither of my parents comported with traditional gender roles very well. So, like, all of these things that you could point to, like, you're actually trans because of this. It's deeply invalidating because you're basically trying to say,
Okay.
there is some fucked up reason why you think you're trans, but you're not actually trans. It's really not cool, actually.
Oh, well, I do apologize for that. I'm certainly not trying to invalidate you. And maybe I should have prefaced by saying that I believe that everyone has the right to be who they want to be and identify however they want to identify and live how they want to live. So I support your right to be trans and to be who you want to be. I'm just trying to understand the psychology of this. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and the way to do
and
that
I
is by
actually,
listening to what trans people say and not weirdly speculating that maybe there's a secret reason that they don't even know about that is justifying why they think they're trans. The respectful thing to
well,
do is to hear what trans people
this
actually
wasn't
say.
speculation. This
Yeah, but
wasn't
it is what you're
speculation.
doing.
Well, this is
That
a
is what you're doing. You're
well, it
speculating
was
as
a
to the
research
reason why someone
project.
identifies as trans. I want to let Josie in here.
So Harvey, all right. So there's a lot of studies. I am an author on a study on the health and wellness, health and well-being of the U.S. Trans Survey, of the 2022. We surveyed 92,000 trans people in every state and every territory in the United States, including like people overseas on military bases. And what we do know is that with life satisfaction, 98% of respondents that said they were either affirmed by, without any hormones or anything, just affirmed by who they were, or if they did take hormones, they were satisfied with their hormones, or if they did take a surgery, they were also satisfied with their surgery. 98%, sometimes 99% in some of those cases, are more or somewhat more satisfied with life. And in that same survey of those same respondents, they also report higher levels of distress with mental health because of the societal, the bullying, the things that all exist outside, but yet we are happier overall when we're able to come out as trans. So when we
Okay.
ask, and if you know, and if you do actually, study behavioral studies and psychology and things of these type of natures, there is a way that we ask about mental health. It's usually called the GAD-5 or the GAD-6, but it's essentially, when you go into the doctor's office and they say, in the last 6 months, have you thought about hurting yourself? Right? Those questions, we ask those questions as a baseline to everybody who takes the survey, so we can then kind of gauge where they are at that current time. And we also ask more specific questions within the last 12 months, within the last few years, or in a lifetime. So then we can start gauging and figuring out what the health outcomes of our community as trans people, so we understand ourselves a little better, so we can try to fill in the gaps where the barriers are when it comes to receiving healthcare, when it comes to receiving mental health care. And we also go into substance abuse, we also go into STIs, we go into all of those things because we need to have the data to better understand our community. Like, we have all the data in the world about people who are cis, or if they, and we're able to then work on that, and that's where we're able to be able to understand these things. And I will just say, as somebody who is an expert in this and actually like authored a survey of this nature that is, hundreds of pages long, like, we have to understand that when we're looking at these studies, it's important to understand that you're looking at a set of conclusions in a given snapshot of time with a basic pool of respondents. So, for
Right.
example, the respondents in my study, I was able to get 92,000 trans people to share their experiences about these different things. And that is a huge sample size. And if you know anything about behavioral health, most studies only have 1,000 people in them, if that, and sometimes a couple hundred. And so what we're able to judge with this data set is that trans people are much more satisfied with life being able to live in this world, even though a lot of the world rejects who we are. And the mental health things, yeah, we deal with a lot of distress. but that doesn't, it's not because we're trans. It's because we live in a world where transness is seen as a mental illness, seen as something wrong, something like legislated against, rights are taken away. And if you go back into the history books and you look at the mental health and well-being of like black human beings during segregation or slavery, like people, like there's stories about people jumping off slave ships because they'd rather die and drown in the ocean than being enslaved, right? Because it is not a normal thing to be oppressed. And when you oppress people, we have a full body of evidence that shows when you oppress a group of people, they perform worse. And you can even see it in studies. Have you ever heard of the study where it's not even a study, it's what teachers do to teach kids about discrimination and oppression, is they will say all the brown-eyed kids over here, all the blue-eyed kids over there, and then they start saying all the brown-eyed kids actually have better outcomes and all the blue-eyed kids sit in the back. And then what they realize is that the kids that were forced, that had blue eyes, performed worse on tests, had bad mental health issues, they had more anxiety, because the idea of being oppressed is a constant like hum in the background that is always going to make you feel awful about yourself. And that's
Right.
that's the whole idea of discrimination. So of course trans people have worse mental health outcomes because we're told our entire lives that we're not even worthy of existing. So does it surprise
Right.
you that trans people would have that?
No, it's not surprising, and that is a terrible thing. And I'm sorry that you've had to experience those things. Can I just quote another thing from my essay here? A couple sentences that you might appreciate. Maybe we'll get closer to the right page on this matter.
Sure.
I wrote, noteworthy, approximately 25% of transgender individuals report being denied health care. This is a terrifyingly ominous and stark fact. Even prison inmates are not denied health care. These harsh realities reflect the requirement for public policy to these matters on a systemic level. So I'm not anti-trans in any sense of the word. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand. Yeah.
I appreciate it. And Harvey, if you're really interested in this, definitely go to the ustranssurvey.org and start reading the studies. We're about to also release a state report as well, where it's going to have every individual state that is going to be published. And what that will give you a lot more updated data, because a lot of the data that is reported on is usually from the 2015 US Trans Survey, which only surveyed about 27,000 people, and it was predominantly a white, younger demographic, while the 2022 US Trans Survey that I had the opportunity to lead had a much more diverse sample, which actually gives a stronger quality of data to the conversation, and it is also predominantly authored by trans people.
Okay.
So that way you can take a look and see what the updated numbers are, because a lot of times, and what we learned in 2015 is that a lot of the data that we were just reporting to try to tell people like, hey, these are the things that we experience, like that's the US Trans Survey from 2015 is the famous survey that put out the 41% number, that 41% of trans people have reported that they thought about, committing suicide or attempted suicide in their lives. That was reported, but what they didn't realize is that when that was reported, it was then spiraled by people in bad faith that said, see, being trans is a mental illness and you're more likely to die because you're trans. Instead of saying, hey, why is that number so high? People just chose to take
Hmm.
that at face value. So when you read the health and wellness report from 2022, the report from the survey from 2022, you'll see a better nuanced approach on how we report that number that has more humanity to it rather than just hard statistics. And we're very proud of how we're able to discuss that in a way that isn't dehumanizing to the community that that was vulnerable enough to admit the fact that they've had thoughts of self-harm. And so we were able to come up with a better way of explaining that, rather than be many people that take it in bad faith just flatly say, oh, if you're trans, you're a lot more likely to commit suicide, as though being trans is some type of mental failing that makes us want to hurt ourselves, which isn't the case. It's the society around us that tries to make us no longer want to be here anymore. And so it's just it's a very harsh reality, but it's also something that can be prevented with a little bit of care, nuance, and understanding. And like you said in that sentence, a systemic change to allow people to feel comfortable. Because still at this time, over 1/3 of trans people are turned away from medical care. I have been turned away from medical care. I'm a national trans leader and I was running for office at the time. And I was turned away from gender affirming care from a major medical institution because the doctor said, I don't treat that. Even
Wow.
though I don't know. I didn't know you didn't know that, Lux.
No,
That
I
actually
don't think we
happened.
talked about it. Maybe I
Yeah,
just
that
missed
happened.
it because I keep
Yeah,
showing
that
up late.
happened like three months ago. That happened to me where a doctor literally kicked me out of her office, and now I did
Dude,
get
I
the
would be
help.
such a bitch, dude. I would be like,
Oh,
oh, I didn't know that you are so incompetent that you can't
Yeah,
get a fucking blood test. That's
I know.
crazy. You can't pick up a piece of paper and read a number and see that it's supposed to be within this range. You dumb fucking bitch. You're fired. And then I would have left,
I
dude.
know. I know. Oh, believe
Was
me,
it
when
an
I said
older
I'm an
doctor?
no, she was new. She was a young doctor. She was probably in her like late 20s, early 30s. I was shocked. I was
Oh
like,
wow.
Dude.
what is going on right now? So she's lucky I'm not like Lux, because I would have wanted her head.
It's
But
like you've
like,
already ruined the relationship at that point. So
I
I have
know.
nothing to lose by telling you
Yeah.
exactly what I think.
Yeah. So what I did is I made sure that there was mandatory training for the entire medical organization to never let that happen again.
That's crazy.
Because it was just like,
Oh,
what if
you
I
were like,
wasn't?
I have some
Yeah.
phone calls to
Oh
make.
yeah, I did. I did. I
That's
did,
fair.
of
You're
course.
like, I will come for your license.
Yeah. It's like, do you want this to be a national media story? Because if you
Yeah.
do, ignore me.
It makes sense why you
Like,
wouldn't respond the way that I responded because you have actual power.
it was funny because she didn't realize that I was the one with the power in the room. Like, she
Hmm.
didn't understand that, like, she was just a doctor and I'm a community leader at a national level.
That's
And she
crazy.
was just
Yeah.
like, it was like, that one funny meme where it's like, at that moment, she knew
She
she
realized she
fucked up.
fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'm sorry, Harvey. We're just gabbing now. Did you have any other questions or anything that you wanted to ask before we scootaloo to the next person?
I do have another question, kind of a scenario type question. But I'm kind of apprehensive to ask because I don't want to.
You,
I feel
you
we're
can.
kind of moving more towards the kind of the correct page here, and I don't want to backtrack because I kind of feel I came across the wrong way at the start.
It's fine. Don't worry. Lux is a little spicy today. It is.
I'm dealing with some things
It's
personally.
that's okay. I can
So
appreciate
Harvey,
spiciness.
I would even say, I was like, damn, Lux, you really, you're really going hard right
Which is so
now.
funny because I feel like I've been even more chill today than sometimes. Like sometimes these people, they get me
I know.
going. They get me going.
I was like just flipping through my study with this grin on my face, man. Like, damn, Lux is it's going on attack mode.
I've
It's
got
fine.
opinions.
It's fine. Harvey, go ahead.
Yeah, I will listen,
Yeah.
and I want to hear you out on this last one.
Yeah, it's more of a scenario question. I have to be cautious in talking about this due to confidentiality. But I used to be a correctional officer, and we ran into a scenario once where I was a correctional officer in a women's prison, and we had a trans man in our institution, and he had decided he would be more comfortable in a men's prison. So we made arrangements and we got him transferred, and myself and another officer drove him to the men's institution. And within 2 weeks, he decided that he wanted to come back to the women's institution. And that just seemed a little problematic to me. Like, I don't know what the solution would be there because I don't feel you should be able to kind of go back and forth from, from a woman's jail to a man's jail to back to a woman's jail, at your own will. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I kind of do, and here's some of the issues is that I could understand in a lot of circumstances that somebody is like, okay, yes, I belong in, if you're a trans man and you're like, I want to go to the correct prison. I don't want to be around all these women. I'm a man. Let me go to the man prison. And then having to deal with the atrocities of whatever that would look like in that situation. And then just for
True.
the sheer safety of that individual probably is what drove them to want to go back. And I don't think it was like, oh, I'm just going to choose here and then choose there willy-nilly. I think it was probably a safety issue, is what I would guess. Now, here's the big issue with prisons, and now it may be different in Canada, but in United States, we do not have a lot of mechanisms that actually survey the quality of life of our prison inmate populations. In fact, in studies, like you can't even, prisoners are seen, or inmates are seen as a protected class. And so, therefore, it takes a special level of authority to do the studies of the situations that people are dealing with. It's actually probably one of the biggest data sets that we are missing in our society to understand what the system is actually producing and what the systems are actually, what is happening. Because a lot of times it's either some reporter that goes in and finds out, or like somebody expresses the conditions and then the media says, okay, this is what's happening, and then it comes out. And usually it's after somebody dies, and then there's an investigation about why this person died, and then all the, skeletons come out. And so we need to do a lot more research on what these situations are, especially in our protected minority classes.
Yeah.
That includes our gender, like women and trans people, and people of different races, different ethnicities, like religions. Like, there are so many things that we just don't know. And I would venture a guess, and this is purely speculation. I don't know anything about this particular situation, but I would venture a guess that the person that decided to go back to the women's prison as a trans man probably suffered or felt fear for their own safety to let them be able to
I
go
would concur.
back the other direction.
Yeah.
Because I don't think
Yeah.
if they willingly wanted to go before and then immediately came back, something happened. Either
I think that
something
there were
was
bad
going to
things
happen.
happening in both places, and it was
Yeah,
just like one of them was relatively safer. Like, you're a
yeah,
trans man in a women's prison, that's inherently degrading. There's probably antagonism from other
oh yeah,
inmates and from the guards, maybe. Like, there's male guards in women's prisons, and they do violence to the inmates all the time. But then being around a male populace was probably worse, because then you're getting it more aggressively, and it's like increasingly like probably sexually aggressive in that environment. So I can see why a person would want to bounce around, or maybe like I can see why the decision was like, I want to move from this prison. Oops, now I realize that's worse, and I want to move back to the other prison. It is noteworthy,
I
Harvey, because you mentioned it in your research paper, and it's now that we're discussing prisoners, that in my country it is now officially our federal policy to torture and deprive trans people of gender affirming care while they're in prison. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah, that is
Not
our
the
yes,
case
official
in
federal.
Canada whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
new that, I mean, we just had an inmate in Florida who, like, they took away her gender affirming care, and then they took away her bra, and then she killed herself.
And they
Um,
shaved.
they shaved their hair. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So
Is,
Yeah.
yeah,
is this stuff new with the Trump administration,
Yeah.
or
a lot of
has
it,
this always been
yes.
a lot
It's
of
Yeah,
it's new?
recent.
it's very recent, yeah. So there is a concerted effort in the United States to deprive trans people of all their human rights,
Yeah.
from the letter on their IDs to the, the just corporal punishment of, our criminals, to being able to access sports as a child. Like, it's like
Yeah.
everything is just being taken from us. And so that's why we get, and again, I think this is why we get so prickly about studies that purport things that may be different, contrary to the lived experience of trans people, because a lot of people use data that is either out of date, doesn't reflect the actual current situation of what the lived experience is, or it's just fabricated, like the Cass study. And then people try to use those things to then take the rights away from us, when we have good bodies of evidence that say if you just let us be who we are, we live happier and better lives and everybody benefits.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, do you think things will get better once Trump is out of office, or do you think that we're
I think so, but
kind
I'm
of
an internal optimist.
That's not a guarantee that he's going to leave office, first of all.
Yeah.
And there's not a guarantee that he's
That's
going to be
true.
replaced by a Democrat. So he could be replaced by somebody worse. We don't know.
Yeah, and I will say
That's
this,
true.
Harvey, I'm very happy with the Canadians that are standing behind the PM right now because, like, you know, America and Canadian citizens are both going to be suffering very big hits from the trade war that has started between our two
Yeah.
countries. And
You
and
you know
and the
what's
fact, go ahead, please. I'd
Sorry, I
love your thought.
interrupted you. Oh, no, I
No,
just wanted
please,
to
I
say,
want to hear
what's
your thought.
crazy is that I just wanted to say, what's crazy is that there are Canadians who are supporting Trump. Like there are
Yeah.
there's hardcore MAGA followers in Canada, and I don't understand that. There are Canadian. I talked to an individual last night who was in support of Trump renaming the Lake of Ontario to the Lake of America in favor
Ew.
of that as a Canadian. Like
Yeah,
I just don't understand it.
absolutely.
MAGA is such
It
a cult.
is. It's just
Yeah.
it's just authoritarianism. Hold on. I'm gonna step away real quick because my dog is doing something weird. I'm gonna stop
Sure.
her. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, long story short, Harvey, shit's crazy right now. You know, like there's not a good like answer to some questions when it's like hard. Like I said, Harvey, it's just hard to talk about the myopics of like maybe sometimes people identify as trans because they were raped or something, which is like not something that you said, but it is falling into the same kind of category of like maybe trans people identify as trans because they're trying to cope with something else that they're dealing with. Like that type of speculation is being used as justification for delegitimizing our rights and for taking away our health care. And so it's like it's like where I can see they're coming from a place of like genuine intellectual curiosity. It's just also tough because it's hard to tell who's just genuinely curious and who is using that information as part of like an overall worldview that's like interrogating trans
Mm-hmm.
identity. You know what I mean?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I appreciate
Yeah.
you being so patient with us and like my spiciness and everything. I feel like
Oh, no, I
we've come to
appreciate
a
you being
place of
patient with me.
understanding. Yeah, no, yeah, it's good. So yeah, if you didn't have anything else, then I think we're ready to wrap up and move along.
Yeah. Thank you, Harvey.
Okay. Well, thank you both. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'll keep doing some research. I popped up on my computer there, US transsurvey.org, so I will do a little bit more research, and maybe I'll call back into the show again sometime.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
Appreciate
Awesome.
you, Harvey.
Thank you. Have a
All
good day.
right. Talk later.
Bye.
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 All right. Sorry, my dog is like
Oh, it's okay.
she's like she had like sometimes she'll get anxiety and like she's
Mhm.
older. She's like 12 years old and she'll just start licking the floor and like start like she just becomes like this dog vacuum.
Is it
And
like, are you in a hardwood floor or is it carpet? Like,
it was both. She did both.
both.
So it's like the room here is carpeted. So you probably hear her coughing. But the room here is carpeted, but like and then she's like going into the other room and I could hear her and I'm like, I think I know what she's doing right now. So
Licking the
so
floor.
she's just licking the floor.
She's
So
providing
now
her services
she
as a
is.
mop.
Yeah, just like you don't need to be a dog vacuum. You don't need to be a dog vacuum right now. And
You
so
mentioned
now,
your dog, and I was like, "Where's my cat?" And then I just looked over, and there she is.
yeah. But
She's a
now
good girl.
I forced her to come and lay in her bed next to me. So now she's pouting, but now she's not coughing anymore, coughing up dust. She was
Yeah.
trying to, I was just
What a
like, stop
goober.
it. She's a dork, but I love her.
Listen, guys, we have right now, I think we have two of our lines are filled with friendly or advice calls. And so we have 6 lines open. And I'd like to fill as many of those lines as we can because we only have our screener for another 45 minutes, but the show is going to go for like another hour and 45 minutes of calls. So 720-619-2288, if you want to, especially if you have a debate. We're both trans. We want to talk about that stuff. We want to get into the harsh topics. If you're like, I have a question that's awkward that I don't really know how to ask, that's what we're here for. If you're like, I have a controversial opinion, or you want to challenge one of our controversial opinions, get in here. And if you don't have a
Yeah.
debate topic, then hit the fucking like button. Thank you.
Yeah, do that. All right, let's take the first advice call. That's here. It's another friend from Canada. Maureen, her pronouns. You are live on the line with Lux and Josie. You want to talk about the WNBA? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I heard you talking at the beginning about the cisgendered guy who's running around saying he's a trans woman and wants to join. And it's obviously a joke. I believe he's even maybe being paid by some right-wing group to do this.
I bet.
To go in and harass them. I mean, these games are being a lot of guys and are showing up just harassing them for the hell of it. I don't know why. They think it's funny. But I was wondering if the trans community should acknowledge that this is a joke, that this guy is fooling around, but should he be allowed as a cisgendered man to apply for a job on the WNBA? What are your thoughts?
Well, there already requirements, and the fact is he doesn't meet any of the requirements whatsoever. And they've already said absolutely not, you're going to do it. In fact, I'm going to pull up these policies right now. Give me 2 seconds as I figure this out. I think what's funny is this person's name is Cantor Freedom, and Freedom is a name that they change, so they expect us to call him Freedom.
Interesting.
So yeah, so Cantor Freedom. Let me see, where is the requirements though? I lost them. I had them here. And I was gonna pull them up.
Is it to do with weight and height and things like that, or
no? I think it's like the hormone requirements.
Levels?
It's like it's like the hormone levels. Like a lot of these leagues, and I'm gonna let Josie search for it. But generally speaking, what they require is 2 years minimum of testosterone suppressing therapy. So like some medication that suppresses testosterone uptake, and simultaneously like estrogen implementation. So basically, most of these sports bodies require you to be on the medicine for 2 years before they will allow you to join. And that means that you've undergone a lot of physiological changes. And generally speaking, and like Ben Shapiro and his team apparently tried to make a documentary doing this, but they kept running into this problem where the men that they hired to be in the documentary to join these women's teams, they were like, oh, well, you would have to take the medicine for 2 years. And the men were like, no, I'm not going to take the medicine for 2 years, because obviously they fucking won't. You would grow boobs in 2 years, like they're not willing to do that. And obviously no one would be. So yeah, that's, I don't know what the specific requirements are for the WNBA, but those already exist. And so this cis man can't just walk in and say, I want to join the team. Now, if he wants to get a job as a coach or something, I'm sure that the WNBA already hires male coaches. So like, that's whatever. But as far as team player, yeah, there are medical requirements.
Yeah, there are, and why am I having so much trouble finding it? And what's also interesting is there's never been a trans woman that's ever been in the in a WNBA, and so it is very interesting that they're basically let's see, so there is because it's like it's such a silly thing that is happening because they're actually challenging the eligibility rules. I'm trying to figure out what
I think actually the eligibility rules, it's not even that they must be on the medicine for 2 years. It's that they have to have a very low level of testosterone in their blood for 2 years. So they have to have been on the medicine for long enough that it's now showing their testosterone level is below a certain number. Maureen, we are getting feedback. Like I can hear myself a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, make sure you mute your stream.
Yeah, it's all good. I just want to make sure that. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
So yeah, it seems
Okay.
like, yeah, with the WNBA, it's not even just they have to be on the medicine for 2 years. Yeah, their testosterone levels have to be below 10 nanomoles per liter for 12 months, or that was the previous requirement. And then in 2018, they actually made the rules more stringent, or in 2024, they made the rules more stringent. Trans women who have to have less than it was 10. Now it has to be below 2.5 nanomoles per liter for the previous 24 months, which I believe is lower than the number that cisgender women typically have. Um, so yeah, these trans women have to have a lower testosterone level than cis women have, and they have to prove it for 24 months before they can join. So it's like this is actually a really high bar in terms of
Yeah.
places that allow participation, and then they're like, okay, here's the medical requirements. So like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand what the problem is here, except I mean, I know here's the problem, Maureen, and thank you for letting me get on my soapbox about this. The thing about trans women in sports, there are only fucking 5 trans women in sports in the whole fucking country. Okay.
At
What they
the
are doing
professional
with
level.
this, I'm being hyperbolic regardless.
Okay.
There's only 5 trans athletes in the whole country, and the purpose of doing this is not to attack trans people. The purpose of doing this ultimately is to erode cis women's rights, to reify the idea that cis women are weak little babies who can't do anything. Men are inherently stronger. Men are inherently better. Women have to be protected. Like, ultimately, I believe challenging trans women in sports is not about trans people because there are vanishingly few amount of us. Ultimately, the fucking bathroom issue isn't even about trans people because, oh, it doesn't take very long before you point out like, oh yeah, cis women are going to be impacted by this, and then they say, well, you should try harder to look like a woman, and then we're coming for women's blue jeans. Then you have to wear a skirt. Then you have to have long hair. Like, this is ultimately all about eroding women's rights, and it's just using trans people as a shoe-in to do that because we keep saying who's going to be the most impacted by trans bathroom bans? Cisgender women who are not gender conforming because there are more of them than there are trans women, just period. It's a numbers game. Same thing with this trans sports thing. Who's going to be impacted by the trans sports bans? All of the little girls who have to undergo genital inspections or who have to have a physical that includes genital inspection or whatever, or additional blood tests that the parents have to pay for or whatever. Who's going to be burdened by this most? It's cis women. So yeah, that's my little high horse moment.
So what's
Yeah.
interesting about it, and the reason I think this is becoming such a controversy, and please forgive me as I had to study up just a teeny bit,
Mm.
is so the eligibility rules were all done by the collective bargaining agreement, which because all of the players are like unionized, they're part of a players union. And in the article, they say only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. So essentially, this has been going on for so long that nobody even like questioned it because trans women are notoriously bad at sports, like really, really bad at sports because it's just like we suck. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we if you go through testosterone puberty at a younger age, you may be a little bit taller, you may have, different things, but once you reduce your hormone levels to estrogen levels, now your body has to carry all of that extra weight that testosterone was designed to
Mhm.
be able to hold. So it actually it's like putting a Prius engine in a monster truck and expecting the monster truck to be good
I want to
at
correct
being.
myself. I was reading the tennis requirements earlier,
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
WNBA requirements. So that's my bad. They were just in this article in a way that was kind of confusing. So
yeah.
I don't know what
So
exactly the WNBA requirements are, but they're probably similar.
so they're not, and that's what the
No?
controversy is.
Okay.
It's the so they didn't get into it, and now they are going to be meeting in a couple of months, so they probably are going to do those requirements because they've
Mm.
never been challenged on it before.
Oh, it has
Because
no
it's
publicly available policy governing the eligibility of trans or
yeah,
intersex athletes. Okay. So they might have
yes.
a they might have a private policy, but they don't have a public policy on that. I see what you
Well,
mean.
yeah, and the thing is like, are you good enough to be able to get drafted?
True,
Like, and
fucking
that,
true. Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's like if you're not good enough to be drafted, then there's never had to be a policy because it's like if you're a woman and you're a trans woman and you're good enough to get into the NBA, then you have a WNBA, then I guess go for it. But what there is a problem here is that these cis men who are obviously men and are obviously have a record of showing that they are doing this as a ploy, wearing a wig, and the guy has been going out and obviously in transphobic t-shirts and going and like causing ruckus. The WNBA is not mandated to choose everybody for the draft. It's not like a like democratic system of like, oh, I can apply for the draft and then all of a sudden you're in the draft. That's not how it works. The draft are based on stats and statistics and numbers and like the understanding of all these different things. So the idea that these men feel so privileged that they could say, I'm so good at sports, I'm better than all these women, when all these and WNBA is like, F you, dude, you suck. We don't want you in our league. Put you into our league. And so that's why they're getting upset. They're crying because they're not good enough to even be playing the game that they want to play. And they don't really want to play.
Yeah, I agree with Lux on that. This is all about trying to limit the rights of all women, cis women, trans women, whatever. It seems to just be we got to control whatever you do, and we're going to do what we can to make sure that we've got that control. And I think in a way this, politically speaking, seems to be the only issue that Trumpy and the right have is the transphobia, trying to scare their people into voting for them, because he's effed up so many other issues. This seems to be the one, at least when I see him speak, he always brings it up. And it's like the old, the way he talked at the beginning of the election, just trying to stir this up, try to hold on to the Christian nationalists, because he seems to be losing them. And I thought that once the economy started hurting, he'd lose some of them. But,
well, well, you Canadians are going to make it happen, because how Canadians are holding strong and telling Trump to go kick rocks, especially after he was trying to change like how trying to demand that the French speaking Canadians could no longer be French-speaking Canadians was wild to me. And essentially that it's bonkers. It's like, how can the American US president tell Canada that they cannot have French be a part of their national language structure? Like, it's
that's
just
crazy.
It's bonkers.
Yeah, I know what he's saying, because we have part of that is that everything you label has to have both languages on it. So he's trying to figure out a way maybe to reduce costs. I don't know.
It's to reduce costs on his corporate buddies.
Yeah, I don't think he cares that there's a French language up here. I don't even think he knows where Canada is on the map, really.
That's true. Yeah,
I think he's just a bully. He's just being arrogant, and Canadians are. I live in a province with a conservative premier, and he does a lot of things I don't like. But telling Trumpy to kiss his ass was one of the things I just loved. And
absolutely,
there's 80% of Canadians are against the American government. They're not against Americans. They're against the American government.
I understand, and I get it too.
It's just ridiculous that you want to do this to the trading party. I think there's 26 states where we're the number one trading partner, and 12 more were the number two. So it's not just
you are the number one trading partner nationally. Nationally, you're number one trading partner.
Let's just get in a trade war with our closest geographical ally.
And so one of the things is, if I usually call Trump the Great Divider, but boy, he unified Canada real strong. Like because I feel like the national identity of Canada. Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm proud of my Canadian neighbors to be able to tell our president no, while the rest of Europe has kowtowed to him like little baby cowards. And so the strength of Canada is incredible, and I'm very proud to call you our neighbors.
Well, and I think that people think that even if you got a Democrat back in there and things changed, that it's going to take decades for this to be overturned, because your trade has been so disrupted that the markets aren't just going to come back. So yeah, he's we're going to be talking about him for a long time, no matter what. Anyway,
Yeah,
thanks a lot for
I
taking my
appreciate it, and
call.
I appreciate talking politics with you because I don't get an opportunity to talk with a lot of Canadian people about the political stances over there. But I think your premier said it best. It's like American trade agreements are written in pencil. Right. This
Yep.
is it's just like it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It's really not. And it's so discouraging because I used to serve in the US Navy, right? I used to serve in the military. I fought for this country, and to see what it's doing to our Canadian neighbors. I remember when we did a port call in Victoria, Canada, and it was beautiful. I loved it. And now I could never see that happening again because of the relationship that we've strained. And so it's just a real shame. It's a real shame. And I think you're right. It's going to take decades, but I think that, and this is me being optimistic, I think that we're going to do our best. And I think the first thing we have to do is we have to remove his name off of every piece of anything that he has put his name on. That has to be priority one. We have to expunge him from our history because it's such a disgrace.
Frankly, I feel like we should also like undo any laws he passed and every executive thing that he sent down. But
Yeah.
that's gonna require a Democrat with some fucking balls. And
Yeah.
let's see if that happens. But yeah, thanks, Maureen. We really appreciate you calling in.
Okay. Bye.
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 Listen, they're cowards today. I don't know what your
Yeah.
problem is, MAGA and anti-trans and gender criticals out there, but where are you today? We've got lines open 720-619-2288. We're going to have lines open for like a half an hour longer because that's when my screener has to leave. So listen, get in here. We've got more energy. Trans care is evidence-based. That's on the screen right now. Do you have a contention? You think trans care is actually bad for people? You think it causes poor outcomes? Man, it is crazy how often I see Republicans just out of fucking nowhere bring up trans people. Trans people,
It's
like,
wild.
y'all have trans derangement. You do. You have
They
trans
do.
derangement syndrome. You got to stop
Absolutely.
thinking about us so much. I know that it's really tantalizing. You want to imagine what we've got going on in the downstairs area. I understand. But chill the fuck out about it.
I know, right?
Go to
Oh my
Pornhub like a
gosh.
normal person.
Oh my gosh.
Actually,
It's
go to
so true.
OnlyFans. Support independent creators and go to OnlyFans and not
Yeah, go
Pornhub,
to
where they
OnlyFans.
consistently steal people's content.
They steal people's content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, normal person Pornhub, pay for your porn, Lux. What are you doing?
I know. It's okay. It's okay. Just have enough dysphoria and like be on the wrong birth control in your 30s, and then you won't have to masturbate because you won't have a sex drive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, do you want to take the last call on the list?
Yeah, let's go ahead with number 6.
All right. So we are going to be taking Quinn from Indiana. You are live on the line with Lux and Josie. You want to ask questions about, can trans women be lesbians? Tell us about it.
Well, just for clarification, I am a trans woman, and I'm questioning I don't find men attractive, for one. I don't know. Never mind.
Sounds pretty
but-
lesbian to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But recently I was online and I was commenting on the fact that I identify as a lesbian, and I was called AGP, and I'm
sorry.
that whole term. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's like, how can somebody say that about somebody else? I just feel like that term should not exist. I don't know.
You're right. It shouldn't, because guess what? Every human being that is in any romantic thing, it's like why would we not like to be the person we are having sex. Like it's just such a weird thing. And when it comes to the general question, trans women being lesbians, absolutely. I'm in a lesbian relationship. I'm a bi, but I am in a lesbian relationship. And so for me it's like absolutely. And there are toxic people in every community, and I'm sorry that you dealt with some really toxic, inhumane people that would even bring those terms up like AGP, but you
Yeah.
will find your person. You will find your person. There are so many lesbians out there that just want to be with a good woman, and like, it's not, it's unfortunate because, and this is just sapphic dating problems, is that we have to go online and try to find people and go into, dating apps, and sometimes we have to cross state lines. If not so many times we have to cross state lines to be able to find our people. But that's a very common thing. Unless you have a very hopping gay bar in your area, then like the chances of you finding your partner like outside of a dating app is going to be fairly slim. And I hate saying that. It makes me really
Yeah.
sad. Unless you're going to like maybe some queer book clubs, or going to like maybe I know
I
there's
mean,
like
getting
queer
involved in hobbies that queer
kickbogglies.
people are often in, like
Yeah.
my recommendation is just join some hobbies, like start doing things that you want to do and you'll meet someone. And you can like I found a maker space in Portland. Like a maker space is like if you live in an apartment and you don't have space to like do woodworking, then a maker space you can pay a membership and you can go there and like use their space and maybe even store some of your stuff there depending on what the situation is. And I was like, oh, I'm interested in like, there's a knitting group at this makerspace. And I think that that would be a good place to meet people who are community minded. Like, this just seems like a place where I'm going to meet a queer communist. And I went to the fiber arts group, and guess what? The one person who was there who facilitated the group is like a polyamorous queer non-binary AFAB with tattoos. So I did find queer people by just going to a space that was that I just thought queer people would be at. But yeah, I wanted to get to the AGP of it all, which is to say that like Billie Eilish famously said in the last couple of years that she loved masturbating in front of a mirror, like with her legs spread in front of a mirror. So it's like, if there is such a thing as AGP, cis women have it, and therefore it's not weird for trans women to have it. So
Yeah.
because obviously
It's just a
cis women like
human
being
thing.
sexy as women and trans women like being sexy as women, and it's not fucking pathological.
Yeah, it's just a natural thing. And it was created to dehumanize trans women in particular. And it comes from a deep-rooted sexism that comes from the bowels of most hateful transphobia and hetero and homophobia that exist. So hopefully it's the last time you hear it, but when you do hear it, just move on, right? And just know that you're lucky you dodged a bullet, because why would you want to be with somebody that thinks that way anyway? And so yeah, that's kind of how I kind of think about it when I'm going into that. But I wish you luck. Do you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, I was just like, how does somebody go from, because they said they used to support trans women, and then they said they are a total turf now. And so I just don't understand how somebody can change their mind to the, in my
By the
opinion,
way,
wrong
Quinn,
direction.
I would say that that is one of the most common things that bigots say. I used to not be a bigot, but now I am. Like
And
it's
it's
they,
because of something you did that made me
yeah,
change my mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's usually not true. Like when they're sitting there and saying, "I used to be okay with trans people
It's like when these
until."
people call in and they're like, I used to be an atheist. And it's like, girl, no, you
Yeah, yeah,
didn't.
right. No, yeah, yeah. And so just know that a lot of times they say that to try to get under people's skin, to make it be like, I used to be not okay with trans people, and I used to be okay with trans people, and now I'm not. You're okay with trans people, so why don't you just join the same path that I went? And it's a very common tactic that a lot of bigoted human beings do and say to try to normalize themselves, to try to say, I used to be not a hateful person, but now I am. You can too. Right.
Mhm.
And it's like it's them trying to like dip somebody's toe in the water of like, oh, maybe you are reasonable. Right. And so I would take that with a grain of salt if they actually said that they were okay with trans people before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a very common tactic to try to normalize themselves, because they don't want to face the reality that they've always been a hateful person, and their
Fucking
heart is
true.
and their heart is blackened and has been blackened. It's not like, oh, they're just hateful people, and they always have been. There wasn't a time when they weren't, if they could be turned so easily.
Yep.
But anyways, now I'm getting spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it makes sense. But yeah, Quinn, did you
Yeah.
have any other thoughts or any other questions that you wanted to get to?
No, I think that's everything. I guess I just wanted reassurance that I'm not the crazy one here, that I
Sure.
am a lesbian, like, I don't know. Sometimes the whole world just makes me question myself. And so
Listen,
yeah, that's
I
all
get
there
it.
is.
It's like a constant push and pull, It's like you can't help being attracted to women and not attracted to men. I can't help being attracted to men. Sometimes I'm
I
like, wow,
know.
I
It's the
hate this. It's
worst.
so fucking stupid. And
It's
then I'm like,
awful.
wow, that man. And then I'm like, I want to bash my head into the wall right now. I hate
Yeah.
this and I can't
Yeah.
change it. Yeah, so yeah, nobody's gonna know better than you, Quinn. And if you're a woman and you are attracted to women, then you're a lesbian. And guess what? Even if you get a little bit flexy wexy in your gender identity and you're like, maybe I'm a non-binary person, guess what? You can still be a lesbian. So it's fine.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
just assholes.
Exactly.
The next time you talk to that person who's like, OMG, I used to be so supportive of trans people, but now I'm a full-blown TERF. Just say, okay, I'm sorry about your literal fucking brain damage. Let's move on. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Unfortunately, it's the truth, and I'm going to keep saying it until I die, but COVID damages the part of your brain that functions empathy, because it can damage all of the parts of your brain. So if you're like, why are people driving erratically? Why are people more bigoted now? Why are people less understanding? It's literally you're catching a disease multiple times a year that's making your brain fall out of your ears, and I'm not joking, and like it's
Oh
just
my
going to keep happening
gosh.
this direction.
It's the
So
new lead poisoning.
it
COVID's the new
literally
lead
is.
poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
Anyway,
God.
that's my
Yeah.
soapbox. I keep getting on my soapbox. I'm gonna get down off of it now. But thank you, Quinn. I appreciate your
Thank you,
call.
You're fine,
Quinn.
Lex.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
This chair is amazing because the chair back is at the perfect height that when I lean back, I can crack my back like it just is popping.
And see, I have one of these chairs, and a lot of people have these chairs.
Why would you
But
do that?
like, I know, I fell for the hype. I was like, oh, these are the gaming chairs, and I was like, but
Mhm.
now that I'm looking at the world, I'm just like, I got scammed.
They're not
Like these,
ergonomic. Yeah,
they're
we watched
not.
some videos of like guys who like review office chairs, and they were like, "Yeah, every single one of these sucks and is not comfortable.
It's
Get
not.
an ergonomic office chair."
I
Yeah,
know. It's like office chairs. People have been sitting in office for years. Why did like I don't know. I will say it keeps my posture really good when I'm like streaming and stuff and like in front of the camera. So it does keep
so
me
does your
it gives
back
me a
feel
straight back.
good? Like it's like good
I
for
have
your
this
back?
pillow. I have this
Okay,
pillow.
yeah.
And I also have this.
Okay, a
So it's
little
like a
lumbar
lumbar.
support. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you had to modify
So
the chair to make
of
it comfortable.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when I lean back, it leans back nice. It's fine. And I got the
Okay.
lumbar support. And so it does work. It does
I
work. It's
recently purchased one of those chairs that has an additional platform that slides in and out and it can rotate all around. So I can put my little feet up, like, because I'm a
oh,
cross-legged sitter. I can't not sit
I
cross-legged no
do that
matter how much it hurts my
sometimes.
knees.
Or
Um,
my foot falls asleep all the time.
yeah. So I got one of those and it's so fucking amazing. It's
That's
not like the
great.
most comfortable chair because it's kind of like cheap, and so I'm probably gonna need to like put a new pad on it for the butt area, but I love being able to put my little feet up.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes sense. Sometimes, like if I'm on stream, you'll see my knee pop up. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like sitting here like that. I do that a lot,
Yeah.
as well.
Listen, guys, lines
Awesome.
are going to be open for 15 more minutes, and then we're going to close them up, and then we've got like the show is going to keep going for another hour, but my screener has to get out of here and go do things. So that's the amount of time that you have to get in here. If you want to debate us before the end of the show, 720-619-2288. We are talking about trans kids transitioning. We're talking about trans women in sports. We're talking about trans men needing access to abortion and birth control. Oh my God, Mina, what is your problem? My cat is just like screaming in the other room.
No worries. So let's take number 5. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right. So we have Jesse from Florida. And you are live on the line with Lux and Josie. You want to talk about the GOP is trans deranged and wants to explain that Trump is not anti-trans. I would love to hear your reasonings. You're live on the line.
Well, he seems to get a lot of heat in that direction, but in reality, he started a global campaign to normalize LGBTQ people and to get rid of laws in other countries that imprison people like that. And that was one of his main contentions with Iran before even any of this Straits of Hormuz stuff happened, was that they were
Jesse, what
imprisoning
Was
trans.
there a
what
specific
was
program that you're referring to, or what are you talking about?
Uh,
Like with this
I
initiative
think
in
it's
other
actually
countries?
I think it's actually called the decriminalization of I forget the exact term he used. It was in the opening weeks of his administration. They put that out nationally, and he spoke about it at the UN when he went to the UN. He brought up that that was a main thing one of the things he wanted to do internationally was to make sure that it was decriminalized globally.
Okay,
And
well,
then he
because so the
also,
interesting thing is that under his administration and a whole bunch of people in his party, and also like the campaign advertisements that he himself endorsed and put out there, are restricting trans people's access to public life in a way that is criminalizing us for being trans. And then the federal policy is now that prisoners can't be given gender affirming care even if they've been on the hormones, even if they've had surgery, which now requires them to be on the hormones, or they'll have complex health issues arise. So it seems like, there's, oh my God, this initiative to like decriminalize being trans in the international sphere. But then domestically, we are creating the conditions for trans people to be imprisoned. And then we're making their prison conditions worse. So that does not seem to be adding up to me.
well, a lot
what
of the prison
was
conditions are state-run.
No, that's federal prisons.
federal? We're
The
talking about
federal
federal prisons.
prisons.
When we were talking about you were talking about the one earlier about the lady in Florida. I believe that was a state prison. I think it was 2016. So it was only like a couple of months after Trump was even in office and before he
Uh,
passed his
I'm pretty
his
sure it's a
bills
recent one
like
that I was thinking
first
of, but
step.
it's like how many trans prisoners have committed suicide? It's hard to keep track. Okay, piece of
So,
shit.
Yeah, but
so what? So Trump was inaugurated on January 20th, 2025. You would agree, right, with that?
sure.
Okay.
Or
He signed a stack of executive orders. Are you familiar with the executive order defending women from gender ideology extremes and restoring biological truths in the federal government?
well, I mean, then we're talking about he literally says extremes, which there are extremes on both sides of the fence and both sides of the
So,
argument.
so,
And then it
so
comes down to
removing
the
gender.
definitions that people
I
use.
reject that premise. I don't believe that there are extremists on the trans support side. I think you're making a false equivalence, and I'm not gonna just let it pass.
and and
You
and
can not believe that
also
if you like. But
so since it's about extreme, what did that executive order do?
I don't have the executive order in front of me. I could look it up. I mean, we can read it
So
together if you want.
if you want, it's executive order, the one that I just said, defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. And I'm reading it directly from whitehouse.gov. And
I think by
essentially,
biological truth, He means defining woman as XX chromosome.
Okay, well, that's
that sounds
dumb.
pretty extreme, and that's not literally what it says here.
No, I'm saying like I think that's the position they take when they define woman. Like when they say like
it is
when they talk about sports, like they're defining that like
so Jesse,
earlier when you were talking
How
about
is that not
yeah.
anti-trans though?
You're
like, yeah,
that's
here's their
anti-trans.
justification, but that's an anti-trans position to take, Jesse. And also, it's
And I'm
it's
talking
anti
about Trump
it's
on day one.
yeah, it's
Like-
anti-intersex and it's also anti-science. And who the fuck is paying for these chromosome tests? Because I've never had my chromosomes tested, and neither have you.
And and again, and I'm talking about Trump did this on day one of his new administration when he got elected after in November of 2024. So the day he got inaugurated, he immediately went after trans identity. Would you agree with that? And if that's true, wouldn't that be considered anti-trans?
I'd have to read the order because a lot of times people run with narratives.
So
I mean, you're looking at
let me
Okay,
just
Jesse,
tell you what
we
it is.
have.
It's yeah. So it's
Well, no,
essentially
I'd like to read it.
removing.
Like
It's removing the word. So it's replacing all of the words that are about women and sex in the administration and all legal documents across the entire United States government to change all of the definitions of how we define gender and make it a sex-based category.
Meaning that it's not possible for trans people to have a discrimination case in, like, let's say schools. So let's say a school, like a kid is being bullied by the administration for being trans. Like they're relentlessly like just being shitty to this kid. That kid can't, that there is no Title IX case or Title VII, whichever one is for education. They cannot bring a case for discrimination because of them being trans.
Yeah,
They just do not have legal protections anymore.
They literally changed every word. Every time the government says woman, girls, men, or boys, they have to put adult and juvenile human females or adult and juvenile human males. That's what they did. They spent millions of dollars to go into all of the documentation across the entire administration to those terms. How is that not anti-trans?
Well, it says that I do see what you're saying about the prison affirming, and then I'm
Okay,
looking
so
at
how
the
is that not
the bathrooms
anti-trans?
and hold on, I'm reading the thing to respond to the thing instead of the other argument. Like it's like that thing with the French Canadians you were talking about. That was Bill number 96 in Quebec to change the product labels on American items. That was a Quebec thing. And then Trump said he doesn't want to interfere with the sovereignty of any other language spoken in any other country. It's more about what can be printed on a label.
Why are we talking about this now? Why are we talking about this now? I'm about to get really mad.
Because of
Focus
how,
up.
Because of how the media. Because
we're talking about trans people. We're talking about trans people. Stay on topic. If you disagree with something about our data, we're focusing on this topic. I'm not about to divert to something else. Trump is anti-trans. Yeah. Currently, it is the federal policy under Trump's administration to take away hormone therapy from trans inmates, the medicine that they've been on for years, sometimes the medicine that they need because they don't have gonads anymore. Their body doesn't produce those hormones anymore. How is it not anti-trans that we are torturing trans people? How is it not anti-trans to shave off the hair of a trans inmate, a trans woman, to shave off her long hair and force her to be shaven down as soon as you bring her into prison? We don't do that in women's prisons. We don't force women to shave their hair in women's prisons. How is this not anti-trans, Jesse? I demand you answer.
I'll give it to you on the if they've already, gotten to the point where they require the medicine, then I'll be with you on that. That's not good.
All right, okay. That's anti-trans.
It's anti-trans. Say it.
Yeah. That's specific. That's
okay. What about
specific part is anti-trans? Yeah.
Okay. So what about removing trans? What about removing trans? What about removing trans military members that are fully fit and capable of doing the job just because they're transgender? Is that anti-trans?
That's more borderline. I mean, that's like the women in front lines arguments, and because I'm
so if they're fit to serve, Jesse, we're talking about soldiers who are fit to serve. We're talking about soldiers who we have made an investment of taxpayer dollars into making them excellent at their jobs. We're talking about people who have high-ranking positions in the military, who do important intelligence work, who have lost their jobs. if they were fully qualified and the only reason they were fired is because they're trans, is that anti-trans, Jesse?
That would be. If you're just
So
barring
who
them away
passed that
from
policy?
away missions that require. Well, are they not allowed to serve at all? Period. Is that the? Is
Yes.
Yeah,
that the
they're
new
not. No,
policy?
yeah, that's right. None of them are allowed to serve. None of them. They've all been kicked out. All of them.
The speech I had heard was just that they weren't allowed to serve on lines where they could go where
Nope.
they needed
It's
medical
everybody.
attention beyond that.
It's
Jesse, things are getting
everybody.
dramatically worse really fast. And because we are paying attention, we know how bad it is. And it's
Yeah.
like, so when you're like, well, I would need to read the executive order, like I read it the day it came out. And I've
Yeah.
gone over it multiple times since then because I'm paying attention to what's going on here. So when you come in and you're like, well, I haven't heard of that. It's like, yeah, you're coming in as a completely ignorant person trying to say like Trump is pro-trans or Trump is at least not anti-trans. And you look like you're not in touch with reality.
Yeah, because like the removal of military service members because they're trans and no other reason, regardless of where they serve overseas in whatever jobs that they have, is an anti-trans policy that was pushed by Trump so much that it went through legal battles until he won.
Yeah, all right. They should be able to serve. I'll give you that
Yeah,
anti-trans.
yeah, okay. So now we have
All the
all of the speeches
current
that he's
current
given.
members are protected from discharge.
No, not right now. They're
That's,
getting kicked out.
I'm reading it as we're talking. It says that currently all active people are protected from discharge. There's an appeals court going on from the Department of War, and it's being appealed to SCOTUS. New recruits still barring enlistment.
Yeah, so it's
The
being
House
litigated.
rejected
Yeah,
They've
it's
changed
being
the
litigated.
policy.
Yeah.
They've changed the policy, and then a court had to step in and say, wait a second. We need to figure out if this is constitutional or not. That doesn't change the fact that they're trying to do it, Jesse.
And the reason,
I think-
recently
I think
they
they'll
have
lose.
moved forward in removing people.
You think
Look,
they'll lose? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
You
they're
think
not
this
losing.
captured fucking 6-3 Supreme Court, you think they're going to lose? I'm going to go refill my water. Fuck you. I'll be back in a second.
They're not going to
Yeah,
lose,
I
Jesse.
think they'll lose.
Like it's already been litigated, and the fact of the matter is, as someone who is a trans veteran myself, I know many service members who have already been kicked out, including colonels and major military leaders across the entire military have been taken out of the military, and the reasoning that they gave was because they did not want people to receive hormones in the military. Did you know that Pete Hegseth just said that they should do testosterone treatments on men in service?
No, but I believe it.
So why is it okay for cis men to receive hormones, testosterone treatments, but trans men can't?
Yeah, I'd be confused. Like I said, I think they'll lose because if they
won't lose.
themselves
They haven't
pass an
lost.
executive, hold on. If they themselves pass an executive order saying that there's a gender binary, and then men and women are both allowed to serve, then they lose on the
They've
basis that
already
they have to define.
You're wrong. They've already kicked them out. They
They kicked out the people for the COVID vaccine too, and then they put them back in with pay.
Well, that was because it's the So, did you serve in the military, Jesse?
I'd rather not talk about that.
So you did serve. Did you serve or not? It's a simple question. It's not
But I
stolen
didn't want to
valor.
answer.
That's
But if
weird. Jesse, that's weird. Okay, I served in the U.S. military, and guess what I had to get when I went in? Vaccines. I was forced to get them. I was forced to get anthrax vaccines. I was forced to get smallpox vaccines. I was forced to get all of those things. And guess what happens if you don't accept the smallpox vaccine when you go overseas? What do they do to you, Jesse? You know what they do to you?
Same as every country you go to. They make you take a new vaccine.
They court-martial you and kick you out of the military because you are no longer fit to serve. It is so common that the military kicks people out for lack of vaccination, and they actually court-martial you, and they actually take your rank away, and then they kick you out because you refuse to do the job. So
Yeah,
if it,
you're
at the
signing away
time,
your regular rights.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So
I'm
all
aware.
of those military members that were like, I'm not getting the COVID vaccine. They can't force me, and they got kicked out. Good. I'm sad that they let them back in because they are cowards. They don't do the bare minimum of the job. And I would rather have a trans person who's willing to do the job than some coward that heard the news one day and thought that vaccines were dangerous, because that person shouldn't be fit to serve, because they don't think that the medical requirements of the military are good enough for them, and that they're above the medical requirements. Because when you're in the military, you either hit the medical requirements or you don't, or you're out.
Yeah, I say both should be commended for their stances. I mean, if you don't want to, you're allowed to resign if you don't want to be part of a medical experiment. I mean, not really, but I mean, in theory.
Jesse, like, so you're telling me if you're sad that you have to go on a military deployment, that you should just be able to just quit the military? You can't just quit the
No,
military, dude. You can't just quit. Like,
I,
it
that's
is a
why I said in
commitment.
theory, not in practice. You
Well,
sign over your right to be medical experimented on. I just, yeah,
essentially, look, I know because I was
yeah,
in the
yeah.
military for 6 years on an aircraft carrier. So yes, I do understand the conditions of being out in the Gulf for months on months on months on end. And you, as a person that is fit for duty, have to follow the codes and requirements of everything that the military passes down on you. And that's physical readiness, that is the training required, that is the medical requirements, that is all these things. And for the military and the chain of command to all of a sudden say, oh, all you trans people that have been serving for the last 20 years plus are all getting kicked out, and all of you, sorry, if you're 17 years, you're getting kicked out without retirement.
Right before their
You
pensions. Yeah.
right before they get
And
their retirement pay.
I
That
I
is
conceded this to you.
yes, exactly. So that's what I mean. The
I had already done
vile
it.
the vileness of what the GOP and the Trump administration has done to trans people. This is just the tip of the iceberg of all the things that they've done to us. Right, from denying us healthcare in certain states, from the Supreme Court just recently just ruled that states can now bar trans kids from being able to participate in sports. The fact that you have
Participate at
multiple
all, or have to
cases
participate according to their
at
gender?
all. Well,
At all?
according to their gender. So you telling me right now, Jesse, if you were forced to play on the girls' team, that you would want to play?
Well, they have a unisex team.
Because you can't afford. You think that schools have the ability to make a unisex
No,
team
they
for
all
every single
they all
league?
they all, they all
In
do.
high school,
The
how many
boys league is
unisex
the
teams did
unisex
you
league.
in high school?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that there are plenty of places where girls are strictly not allowed to join the football team. Like, I'm certain
Yeah.
that that's the
They were
case.
professional players. They were professional women players in the
In,
NFL back in the 80s.
yeah, but I'm talking about high school. I'm talking about kids playing
Yeah.
sports with their friends.
Like, there are thousands of high schools across the country and like hundreds of colleges, and they all have different policies and implementations on this.
Yeah, like
But I'm pretty sure
in the most
the
recent
major
case
league
that
is
happened
open for anyone who can pass
in
the
in
training.
the recent case, the recent
Why are we on this?
for the most recent case in West Virginia, the Supreme Court ruled that a trans girl who, by the way, was on puberty blockers, by the way, that didn't even have testosterone in her system, was allowed to be banned from being able to play sports with her friends.
With her
That's
friends,
what happened.
meaning, oh, look, well, you got to be
Her
a little more
friends that are
specific.
girls.
Wasn't allowed to play with the girls' team
Yes,
because,
exactly. And she was developing as a girl.
but they could play on the men's team or the boy or the unisex
Do you
team, right?
really? You're not being reasonable. You're talking about a little girl
Yeah,
that is going
little
through
girl, right?
girl puberty, and is now forced to play with high school boys. Do you think that that is actually fair?
I thought you said you were talking about. All right, never mind.
I'm
Uh,
talking about the trans girl
yes,
that was developing as a girl with going through woman puberty, is forced to play with the
yes.
boys.
I don't
You
think
think that's
forced is
fair
the
for that
word.
girl?
I don't think
You
forced
think
is
that
the word. I don't think anyone's
so
barring
so so
anyone
so
She
you just
has
because
said,
they're
Jesse,
against
you just
trans.
told
Jesse.
me.
If she has no
Yeah.
choice, if she wants to play, she has no choice but to do the degrading thing, which is putting a girl on the boys' team where she's going to get made fun of, where she's going to get bullied, where she's not going to fit in. The boys aren't her friends. She has friends on the girls' team. She wants to play with her friends. That's the whole thing.
So
We want
is that
trans
what we're
people to be able to.
prioritizing?
I'm sorry, you're interrupting me. I was in the middle of fucking talking, so I didn't hear what you said.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so we're talking about a little girl who she has not had male puberty. She has no advantage over the girls. We're saying if you want to play, you have no choice but to play with the boys who you don't like and who don't like you and you don't fit in with and who are better at the sports than you, according to the narrative. If the narrative is that going through male puberty makes you better at sports, then that girl who has not had male puberty is going to struggle to compete. And it might be unsafe for her. Y'all are always talking about how, like, oh my God, if you put men and women in contact sports, then these women's bones are going to break. That little trans girl has the same risk as a cis girl of having her bones broken. And because she's fucking trans, how likely, Jesse, do you think it is that they will deliberately pick on her, that they will deliberately hurt her, that they will deliberately hospitalize her with broken bones? It fucking happens all the time. A young woman named Sovereign or Cobalt Sovereign was punched in the face and her face got broken because she went and used the boys' bathroom, which is what you think she should do under this logic.
So Jesse, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Which political party is the one passing all these laws?
Well, you said the executive order, and then you said
Well, I'm just,
lawsuit.
yeah.
So
So
What about all
we
the
didn't
state
talk about
laws?
any laws.
what
What
about
about
the
all the
state
state
laws?
laws?
The state law is the one I'm talking about with the kid in sports, and then also all the medical care that has been denied. So,
So
which
do you think
political
they should make an
party?
exception for how young a
I
person is?
I think that they shouldn't be passing these type of laws at all, and focus on things that actually matter, like people's health care and housing,
I mean,
and
from their
things like that.
position, they're protecting the ladies.
The trans girl,
That's it.
they're protecting the
No,
trans
no,
girl.
from the people making these sorts of decisions. They're not doing it from a place of hate. They're doing it from a place of protection.
So my question again is, which political party is passing all of these laws and are submitting all these laws into law?
Well, it varies. Like in Virginia, they had a Democrat sign it when they were doing these school things after those rapes that happened.
Which
And in
political
Florida, it's the
party?
Republican Party.
It's Republicans everywhere, Jesse. Like, just because a Democrat somewhere tried to pass the law, it's the Republicans that vote in a block. The Democrats specifically vote against these type of bills. Would you
Right?
agree
So,
with
like I
that?
said, they're not coming from. Well, it depends on which bill we're
I don't
talking
care
about. If
where
we're
they're
talking
coming
about
from. It's the fact is that they're wrong about that. They're wrong
which
because they are passing
part are we
laws that
wrong
are
about?
anti-trans. They're wrong
Anti-trans, or
about
is it pro? Is it trans neutral and pro woman?
No, because
it's
it's
not pro
resulting in a
woman.
harm. It can't be, it's not neutral for trans people. And it's not neutral for women either, because
Yeah.
cis women are being subjugated to genetic testing. We're about to start doing this at the Olympics again. Women have committed suicide when they've been under this kind of scrutiny because a woman who thinks she's a woman her whole life gets a genetic test. She's a professional athlete. Her genetic test shows that she's intersex and has XY chromosomes. And maybe she even gave birth to a baby last year, but she's still disqualified. It's ruined women's careers. Like, you understand, like, the majority of the people who are going to be subject to the tests that are inevitable, because when you say, well, we need to make sure that it's only biological males and biological females on separate teams, then you introduce the idea of genetic testing. A, who's going to fucking pay for that? But B, the overwhelming majority of the people who are going to be affected by that are cis girls. So little cis girls who
Everyone
have to
has
now
to
have
go.
a I'm not done talking. So little cis girls who now have to have a genital inspection as part of their physical before they can qualify for the sports team, or little girls' families who have to pay thousands of dollars for a genetic test, a chromosome test, because their insurance doesn't cover it, just so that she can participate in a sports team. And we are already seen these policies being weaponized against little cis girls, where now there's an investigation because, oh, somebody didn't like that basically like a black girl performed better at sports than her white child. So these are already being weaponized on a racialized lines. This is only harming people. It's like, oh, we're saying this is pro women, but all it's doing is increasing scrutiny and harm on cis women who by and large don't want these policies. And there isn't an epidemic of like boys going into women's spaces to hurt women, pretending to be trans. Like, we're not protecting people from anything meaningful. There is no statistical data suggesting that trans women are dominating the sports, or that trans women are hurting people, or that trans women are like predatory. None of that. So we're just denying people something for no reason in a way that also hurts the group that we're alleging to try to protect.
Play sports,
so
everyone
Jess,
has to go through a physical.
Okay, you're honing in on this one thing. I literally fucking said, Jesse, and if you would shut the fuck up for 5 seconds and actually listen, you would know this. What I said was a genital inspection in addition to the physical that they already have to take. You're not fucking listening. That's how I know you're not listening.
No,
Because I literally explicitly
I-
said that now we're subjecting children to genital inspections as part of their physical. Holy fucking shit.
I remember getting a genital inspection when I
that's
played sports in
a
high school.
physical. As a physical, you were not getting a genital inspection. You were getting a prostate. You were getting the.
It was like testicular torsion check, right?
Testicular, yeah. That's the
Yes,
turn your
Which
head
is
and
not the
cough.
same as we need to confirm what genitals you have. Little girls don't need that. The most of an inspection I ever had, because I grew up assigned female at birth, was like checking for a hernia where they touched the front of my body. I've never had to open my legs or show anyone my genitals in order to get on a sports
that's a
team.
hernia check. Yeah. So Jesse, look, and I can tell that we're not gonna get very far. So I want to take some major steps back here. So I think before I move on to this point, we can now say that Trump is doing the things that are against trans people, and the Republicans in general are doing things against trans people. Yes.
There have been examples, yes.
Okay, so it's mostly that's what it is. Okay, so now let's take a step back and go into your ideology a little bit here. Okay. So I'm guessing you do not believe that trans women are women, correct?
If you define woman chromologically, then no.
Well,
Do you
okay.
define womanhood that way? We're asking your opinion.
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
do,
Okay.
personally.
So do you believe that there's a difference between sex and gender?
I believe the gender identity, or however you want to say that, or general, what do they call it? When you appear as something, projection, how people project their.
That's expression.
However,
that's part
expression
of
yeah,
gender, but it's not. I'm asking you, is there a difference between sex and gender?
No.
Okay, so do you have sex with somebody, or do you have gender with somebody?
Have sex with somebody.
Why don't you have gender with them if this is the same thing?
Well, we're using them in two different contexts.
Why do you need two different contexts if they're the same thing?
Because you can have words.
So they should be interchangeable, right?
Contexts.
Well,
No,
why
not in all
would we
cases.
create a different word for something that is the same?
Tell me.
Well, I'm asking you because you said that gender and sex are the same. So let me explain. So I do not believe gender and sex are the same. I do not believe they're the
Look at
same.
my driver's license. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, your driver's license is your perceived gender, right? Then they ask they're not. Did you when you got your driver's license test? Did they have to tap your penis?
No, it says sex on it. It doesn't say gender.
Well, did the drivers did they go and they do a verification check to make sure you weren't lying to them about your gender marker?
No, they also weren't having sex with me, so it's not used in the
Well,
term of physical intercourse.
Okay, so if you were issued an ID that had an F on it, you would just believe you're a female or a woman in that case?
No,
Because then why did you bring up a driver's license? Because if the driver's license is
because
a
we're
pinnacle,
talking about the
if the
definition.
if
We're talking about the
well,
definition of sex.
but you believe that the sex and gender is the thing on your driver's license. So if it was misprinted, then your driver's license would be the thing that tells you what your sex is, right?
No, your driver's license would be an indicator, but it'd be a false indicator.
So why would you bring it up?
Because you're talking about the definition of what the word sex means. You were
So
saying you
what?
don't
So the
have sex
definition
with
of
the
sex has
identity.
the driver's license a part of it. Why did you bring up
Are,
driver's license?
are
That's
they
why I'm
putting my
bringing it
sex
up.
on the driver's license, or are they putting my gender on the driver's license?
In most
It-
places, it's your gender because
Yeah, most places.
the purpose of an ID is that it matches your appearance. So it doesn't really make much sense if like your ID, Jesse, and I'm making some assumptions based on your voice and the fact that you're from fucking Florida. I'm guessing that if it said F on your license, that would be inaccurate to your gender and to your sex, right? But up until very recently in Florida, you could have it changed. You could be like, I'm transitioning into a woman and I'm going to get it changed to an F because that's what you look like, right? If your ID said F right now, that would not comport with how you look, with how you identify. It doesn't comport with what prison you should go to or any of those things. Like, so for a trans person, they can change it. And in most states, up until recently, it has been a reflection of like your gender. I
Yeah,
had mine
and
updated in the state of Kansas. And like, if I hadn't moved away, I would have just suddenly had my driver's license revoked overnight, which is what they just recently did. So like, yeah,
yeah.
speaking of
And
like
my driver's
criminalizing trans
license and
people.
passport both have F on them. So I guess
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
that validates me.
What purpose would there be for the police to see like a sex marker? Like what purpose would police have, like, or the person at the liquor store have? Like what reason, if anything, if a trans person has an ID that doesn't match their appearance, they're going to be accused of having a fake ID. Actually, that has happened, I think, in
Yeah.
Kansas recently.
Happens a lot now.
A trans woman got arrested because she had male on her driver's license and they thought that it was a fake license, I believe. I might be getting it
Yeah.
backwards. I might be getting it backwards,
But yeah.
but yeah, so like, yeah, it's just gonna make it look like you have a fake ID, if anything, if your sex marker doesn't match your appearance, which is why it's called a gender marker, and that's why it is comported with your current appearance. You know, you update it with your current weight, not what you were born as. I was not, I don't still weigh 9 pounds. I weigh whatever, 150
And
pounds.
driver's license have hair color on them too, and
Yeah.
and eye color and stuff. So going back, Jesse. So why in the world would we have two different words, one gender, one sex? Because you say they're the same, I say they're different. And what my difference is that your sex sometimes aligns with your gender identity, but sometimes it doesn't. Right? So a trans woman, and which I am, is a person who was assigned male at birth and identifies as a woman as a gender. So therefore I'm a trans woman. Therefore there's a difference between sex and gender. That is how I view the difference. Does that make sense on how I
Yeah, that
defined
was what
it,
I was
even though
talking
you may not?
about. Gender identity. Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about in the beginning.
Is there but you told me that there isn't a difference between sex and gender.
I said if you mean gender by gender identity or how you, and then I forgot the word not express
Expression.
or present.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that would be the definition you're going for, which would mean gender would be however you present yourself to the world.
Not well,
Fine.
a lot of
It's just
times.
it's
A
just
lot
a
of times.
definitional thing. It's just a definitional thing.
But when we interact in the world, Jesse, we interact with people's gender identity, and sometimes there's gender expression, because like
So
if you're rarely. So
What?
when you talk to people, you actually tap them. So when somebody says, "Hey, I'm Samantha," and she looks like a woman, do you give her a little crotch check just to make sure?
I mean, rarely is in the other direction. Like it never usually comes up, or you never have to present documents to prove that you're.
Yes.
But if a girl
sex
says,
or
if a woman
whatever,
comes up
like,
to you,
that-
if a woman comes up to you and says, "Hi, I'm Samantha," you're interacting with their gender, not their sex, correct?
I'm more interacting with their person.
Well,
Doesn't
yeah, which
matter
is
what
part of their gender, right?
sex or
Because you, as a
whatever.
most people have gender identities. What about you? Are you a man, Jesse? What gender are you?
I would say so.
Okay, so you're a man. Is that what you are?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
So you saying you're a man is you proclaiming your gender identity. Would you agree with
I
that?
mean, I want to say gender identity, then my gender identity would match my sex or my genetics.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
You could be a cis man, which is fine, but are you
Uh,
a man?
yeah.
Okay, great. So that is a gender identity. You prove to me what a gender identity is by declaring your own gender identity. I didn't ask if you were a male, right? I didn't
I didn't have
ask
any
that.
problem with defending. Just you can use gender identity, like I said, that's fine. People
But
can
you
identify
said
however they like, but it never usually comes up on a regular daily basis.
I
that
think
It just
that
yes,
seems
you're
like
agreeing.
a.
I think you're
you're
basically Jesse. So what Josie is saying is
I think
like
I'm agreeing too.
when you see someone in the world, I mean, you're kind of declining to take up what she's laying down, which is that you interact with people's gender because you do, like, and maybe you're different, Jesse, but when somebody looks at me and thinks that I'm a woman, they will literally fucking wait for 10 seconds holding a door open for me when I'm walking toward a building. So people treat me like a woman because they perceive me as a woman. So when we're talking about like interfacing with people's gender and we don't interface with people's biological sex very much, that's kind of what we're saying is like you do treat people, maybe not you again, we generally in society do kind of treat people different in society based on their gender. So their gender is a part of their personhood and how we interact with them. And I don't think you're disagreeing with that fundamentally. So I think you're kind of maybe
No, I'm
agreeing a
not.
little bit with what Josie's saying, that like your biological sex does not really matter that much in your day-to-day life. So if this is coming back to the gender on your ID, why would you need your sex marker on your ID if it's not relevant in most like actual situations? And you're agreeing that your sex isn't relevant in most situations. So then we can proceed from there.
so Jesse. So if
hmm
you so it sounds like you kind of agree that there's a difference between sex and gender, yes?
Yeah, if you're defining gender as gender identity, then yes, I'm 100% with you.
Okay.
Like
So
if that's the definition we're
does the
going with, then yes.
statement, yeah. So does the statement some women have penises and some women don't? Is that a logical statement?
So
Why?
some people who identify as men don't have penis. Use the extra word in
But
there to
two
clarify your
percent, about two
definitional.
percent of the population, about 2% of the population disagrees with you.
That's fine. I mean, we're only
So
talking about
so
what 0.02% of the population we're even talking
no,
about.
I'm talking
We're having
about
like the
2%. I'm
most
talking
minute.
about 2%. I'm talking about 2%, which is the population of Russia worldwide, right? That's 2% of the human population. So we're not talking about a small number here. We're
I
talking
really
about
just
I was talking about the
billions of
actual.
people.
I just have no idea,
The,
Jesse, why, I think we were trying to get on this earlier. Why do you, why do we have a different word for man and male if they're the same thing? What we're suggesting is that from a sociological perspective, from a scientific perspective, we have these different words to describe different phenomenon. So if you're just going to say being a man is being male, then why the fuck would you even say man? Like, why would you just stop? Why didn't you just stop saying man? Say like, we need to abolish these gender terms, period.
Which
Because
is
like,
what the executive
there's
order
no
did.
utility. There's no utility, Jesse, to conflating the two things. When in practical reality, we can see that people sometimes have a gender experience. They move through the world through gendered experiences in a way that is different from their biological sex. And Jesse, there is no stronger proof of that fact than the fact that we have zero idea how many intersex people they are. We don't do this kind of population genetic testing. When we used to do genetic testing for sports and stuff, we found out that lots of people who appear to be cisgender and are fertile, they have no anomalies reproductively, but they have intersex chromosomes. Like they have different chromosomes than you would expect. So like if a woman, and this is a fact and it has happened numerous times, Jesse, a woman with XY chromosomes giving birth to an XY daughter with no assistance, a natural birth natural fertilization by just regular having sex with her husband type of fertilization, giving birth to a healthy XY female baby. So if you have this idea that chromosomes are the only thing that determine sex, then in your worldview, there are a lot of men having babies. There are like lots and lots and lots of men giving birth. And that probably, again, happens more commonly than we might suspect because, it's like the case studies don't represent the whole. If I have 3 case studies of that same thing happening, which I do, then that is happening much more often than just those 3 case studies. So probably thousands of times a year, women are giving birth, even though they are intersex. So Jesse, either, and it necessarily, there are only 2 options here. Either, in your worldview, Jesse, men can give birth, or gender and sex are clearly different things, and you can identify as something different to your chromosomes. Which one is it?
Well, I would say that there's been a traditional third gender in a lot of societies going back even to ancient times, and that they
Not in this
understood
one.
that there were people
Not in this
that-
society.
well,
How is that relevant?
Society.
So are
Because
you saying
we're
that
talking
trans
about
people
definitely-
exist, Jesse?
Of course they exist, yeah.
Okay, so would you say that a trans woman, for example, is a type of woman?
A type, yeah.
Okay, so
That's why I
trans
said
women
there
are
was
women
like
then.
little caveat
So
words
so
to these
trans
to
women
narrow
are
in on
women.
the specific thing you're talking about.
So
Say that
you do
trans women
believe
can
that trans
identify
women are
as
women. So
you said it.
we're getting away from it, Jesse. So if a trans woman is a type of woman, then that would make a trans woman a woman, right?
It would make her a type of woman, the subcategory.
So would you say that about all women then? So like
All women are types of women?
a blonde woman is a type of woman? So no woman is a woman, they're just a type of woman.
Well, no, if you're like I said, if you go to the chromosomal definition, then
But we
you
just
either
got
be in
we
a
just
third,
we just
a third case, or
Yeah,
you'd
we
be,
okay,
we're
okay,
talking
okay.
about
Hold on. No.
expression.
Come,
talking about
okay. So
expression
what,
versus
Jesse, are what you
genetics.
saying, Jesse, is what you're saying that the woman who was XY who gave birth unassisted, you're saying that she is a third gender? Is she not allowed? She's not a woman. She can't call herself a woman. She can't call herself a mother. She can't get women's reproductive health care.
However she likes.
Okay.
Identify however
So
she likes.
is she
We're
a
talking
woman?
about
Yes or
specific
no?
definitions.
So you're
Is she
saying
a woman?
No.
Okay, so she's a
not a
man, so
woman.
men can give birth.
Or a subcategory of third. Like I said, there's a
Jesse, you don't get to do that at this phase in the conversation. You don't get to spend fucking 45 minutes upholding a gender binary where it's male or female and then be like, yeah, but well, we can make a third gender option. Like, I mean, are you just saying that like all trans people are a third gender option and like, I don't understand what your fucking thing is. Because in practical purposes,
there are exceptions genetically, and then there's what you define yourself as socially. If you're looking
so sex and gender are different. You agree that sex and gender are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, gender is gender identity. We said that.
A woman,
we're going for,
a woman can have a penis and XY chromosomes because they're 2 different things. A woman can be male.
And now you're talking about identifying rather than being.
I'm done.
The whole
okay.
point. That's the whole point.
We have one caller left waiting, and I'm fucking done with that conversation. I yelled at that guy plenty. What an idiot. Ugh. What a fucking idiot. Okay.
Yeah.
We have one last caller. Thank you so much, Jess, for sticking around for a little bit longer with us today. Everybody in the chat, give Jess your love. Give her some, prayer hands or some. I don't know what's an equivalent. We have one called in my chat. It's called hypers, where the little guy has both of his arms up and he's like,
yeah.
But we don't have one of those in this chat.
We got little praise hands. hands.
Let's get raised hands in the chat for Jess. Thank you so much. And we are going to do super chats here in a little bit. So don't forget to get those $5 plus super chats in. Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say that. So thank you, super chats. Get them in, team Josie, team Lux. And we are going to take our last call of the day.
I'm going to come up with my silly positions to defend.
We have a lot of wonderful Canadian callers. We have Curtis calling in from Canada. You are live on the line with Lux and Josie, and you want to talk about trans victimization. So yeah, tell us about it. What do you think?
Well, first I want to start off by saying that I've watched a number of your videos. I will say that, for instance, Josie, I think you're the most compassionate and sincere that I've seen on the line. Maybe the GOAT of trans people that I've seen or interacted, I've seen online or so on. So I do want to give you respect from that perspective. I don't think that you are. I don't think you're malicious. I think you're actually very sincere and you're very passionate and you're very caring towards people in general. So I actually have to give you respect from that level.
I just got to tell you, Curtis, that we only have 15 minutes, so you're going to have to pick it up a little bit.
Oh, boy, is it going to take long? Okay, no problem. Let's get right down to it. So, okay, so I seen a video. It was called "Conservative Theist Caller Grills Us on Trans Identities."
Okay.
And basically, Lux, you responded at the 26-minute and 18-second mark, and you said, "Why is someone's comfort the determining factor over somebody's right to public access and their safety? Why should I care about women's comfort in the bathroom if there's no actual tangible threat to their safety, but there's actual tangible threats to my safety?" And cis women are employing this concept of their comfort where they feel safe. But if you are safe, I don't care how you feel. Your feelings don't supersede the facts of the situation. Does that sound familiar?
That sounds so accurate to something that I would say and still believe today. Yeah. And like, I'm Curtis,
absolutely.
I don't know if you're familiar with the right to comfort. But it's this idea in America that like, white women in particular had the right to be comfortable. And that was the justification for barring black people from public restrooms and public accommodations. So that's kind of the space that I see a lot of this, anti-trans rhetoric falling into, is a similar space of like, well, I just feel like you might hurt me, so I want you out of this space. And that it's literally just the same thing.
Yeah, I completely. I think that's apples and grapes. I'm not gonna lie. I actually,
it's not.
I am an African American, African Canadian. I lived in both countries. I actually find that offensive, to be perfectly honest. When I hear that you mentioned when you use race as kind of like a mascot to kind of
it's not a mascot.
Back off your ideas and say, well, okay.
But what's the difference, Curtis? But what's the difference? Here, I want to know what the difference is. Because here's how I see it. I see it as here's a marginalized group of people who already have a difficult time in life, who are already, struggling, and they mostly are actually overwhelmingly the victims of violent crimes, right? Like a group of people who has no institutional power, who is the victim of violent crimes, right? Trans people is the group I'm talking about. Trans people are by and large the victim of violent crimes, right? So when we then point to a group that is overwhelmingly the victim of violent crimes, and we start to say that's actually the perpetrating group, but we don't have any evidence that that's the perpetrating group, that is just more ammunition.
Curtis, are you driving right now?
Absolutely not. I actually just moved from another area. Go ahead.
Okay. It was just really breezy in the background there.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, no worries. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just have a policy. We don't talk to people who are driving. So the thing is,
absolutely, I understand that. No problem.
Yeah. So if trans people are a group of people who we know have a hard time in life and they are more likely to be the victims of a violent crime, if there is an increase in rhetoric that is pointing to that group of people as, actually that group, they're violent, they're going to hurt you, those are the perpetrators, but there's no evidence to back up that claim, then that claim that they are perpetrators is actually just another weapon to marginalize them further and make their life worse. So we have this situation, Curtis, and the comparison that I'm making is, okay, let's say trans women, because that's the group of people that we're always focused on here. Trans women are more likely to be assaulted in a public restroom than a cis woman is. They are more likely to be assaulted. So for somebody to say, well, they need to be in.
I can jump in.
Yeah. So my comparison that I'm drawing here to the right to comfort as it relates to Black people is that there wasn't an overwhelming amount of evidence that Black people were hurting white women, and that persecution of Black people, like saying that y'all were violent and going to hurt people while this country was really violently hurting y'all and making your lives worse and marginalizing you and making it where you can't go out in public and use the restroom. It's the literal same fucking thing. It's literally the same thing. So I don't know why you think it's different. I'll shut up now.
Okay. Big problem, because the objective issue here is not about trans people not being able to use the bathroom. It's about trans people wanting to use the opposite sex bathroom. Big difference.
Oh,
So
yeah, but Curtis,
I've heard you
but
many
it's
times.
unsafe.
Let me finish. Let me finish
It's
my thought,
unsafe
please.
for us to use
Okay.
the other one.
Okay. Can I get a little bit of time in so I can get my point across? Okay.
I mean, if
So
you're gonna try to
the
explain
point
to
is-
me why trans women getting physically assaulted in men's
I can't even
bathrooms is
talk. I
less
don't know how we
important.
can have a.
Yeah. So
Okay. How
yeah,
can we have a good faith conversation if you're not going to allow me to talk?
yeah, sure, okay, sure. Sorry.
Okay. So I've heard this claim over and over again, and about trans people are well, you said they're much more likely to be assaulted in the bathroom, and is that correct?
Yes.
That's the fact of the
That's your
situation.
view,
Yes,
right?
it is what I said, and it is
Okay.
objectively the fact.
Okay, refer to
Thank
me.
you.
Okay. So refer me to the facts where there's any statistics showing that trans people are assaulted more than cis women, as you call them, cis women, in same-sex bathrooms.
I mean, Josie, you literally have the report sitting next to you, don't you?
Source.
Yeah, so go to,
it's
if you want
it's the
to,
U.S. Trans Survey
Yeah.
in 2015 actually has this, but essentially, data does show that when trans people are forced to use the bathroom, particularly of the one that you are proposing, which is the one assigned at birth sex, that trans women will actually be more unsafe because of the fact that you're putting a trans woman in a space where they are not, they're women, right? So they go into a space and then you put them in a place where it's like you're not supposed to be here. So those data does claim. You also have many news reports of women getting beaten, women being killed. There's a lot of stats that show trans men in particular that are forced to go into women's bathrooms. Are full bearded trans men have been beaten to an inch of their lives because
And arrested.
men and arrested like in public parks and things like that because men think that a guy is walking into the woman's bathroom and then they beat the crap out of him even though he was a trans man and was forced to go to the bathroom because he was assigned
he was
female
following
at
the
birth.
law.
Yeah,
To be
exactly.
clear.
And so we have a lot of evidence that shows that there is a lot of that, and we do not have any body of evidence that proves that trans women assault women in bathrooms.
Okay. So now I have to push back on you because everybody that's called up never has. They just kind of accepted what you said as good faith arguments. I actually read the entire 2015 survey, which actually was dealing with anonymous surveyors. They never even interviewed these people. These were all anonymous. That's number one. Number
That's how you
two,
collect
the
population data,
2017
Curtis. Curtis, that's how you collect population data. No, but I'm not gonna let you finish. That's how you collect population data, Curtis. You're taking issue with the fact of how we collect population data.
Yeah, people like you know what an IRB is, Curtis? Institutional Review Board. Do you know what that is? I did the U.S. Trans Survey in 2022, by the way, with 92,000 trans respondents. An IRB is an institutional review board when you do a scientific study on people, especially marginalized populations as well, where you have to protect people's PPI. PPI meaning personal personal identifying information, right? PII. Sorry. And you take that information and you cannot contact those individuals because by law you are not allowed to contact those persons. Those people are meant to be anonymous because to do so would violate scientific rigor of what we do to protect people when they do scientific surveys and data. We had massive levels of regulatory and scientific rigor involved in getting all of that U.S. Trans Survey data, especially in 2022
I didn't want to hang
and
up.
2025.
I didn't want to hang up on the anonymous because I was actually getting past the point, but I can't get more than 10 seconds in without being cut off.
You just keep saying wrong shit. So if you build a foundation that's fucked up.
Okay. Okay. Well, like I said, if I can't even finish a sentence to even confirm my point, this is basically you're sabotaging the debate. That's what's happening because you're not even allowing me to speak.
Okay, so if you didn't want to talk about the anonymized data, then why the fuck did you bring it up? I would love to hear the end of that sentence.
I mentioned.
I would love to hear the end of that sentence.
Let me finish the end of the sentence. Okay, great. Okay, the 2015 survey was based off of, as I was saying, it was based off of 27,000 people, and the 27,000 people, trans people, as they interviewed, which were anonymous. They didn't. They also stated that this did not correspond with law enforcement data. Secondly,
right, because we don't have access to that.
Nowhere.
You think trans people call the police?
Let me finish. Please let me finish. Please, out of respect.
Crazy.
Please let me finish.
I don't know a single trans person who would ever call the police.
The 2000 transgender survey, which first of all is going back to 2013 and 2012 data.
Sure.
That data, which was published in 2015, it doesn't even correspond whatsoever with law enforcement data whatsoever. In that study as well, it doesn't mention anything whatsoever about same-sex bathroom violence.
It talks about violence in general in public spaces. It's public spaces.
It mentions nothing about it mentions nothing whatsoever about same-sex violence.
We ask public spaces, Curtis. That's part of public spaces.
Okay,
do you not think that public bathrooms are part of public spaces? Because it specifically implicitly says
but you're talking
public
about opposite sex bathrooms.
Yes, and I'm talking about the public spaces.
Opposite sex bathrooms, right? Okay. Is it public space for a man to go inside of a woman's shower?
For a man?
It literally is a public space, and in most cases there are no laws.
I'm asking a question.
In most cases there are no laws around this, so it literally is a public space that anyone can go into. Listen, Curtis, and maybe, I don't know if you're a dad, maybe you're not a dad who's ever been in this situation where you go out in public with your baby and your wife isn't there and you have to change the baby and then you go to the fucking bathroom and there's no changing room in the men's bathroom. So, you say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I have to go into the women's bathroom to change my baby. And then all the moms around you are like, oh my God, no, you're taking care of your baby. You're doing such a good job. It's fine. Men have to go into the fucking women's bathroom all the time. Literally all the time.
And Curtis, and I know we have to cut this call short. I think I'm on next week. If you want to call in earlier, so there's more time.
100%. I would love. Yeah. And listen, I like Lux's intellectual. I like how fiery she is. So I actually find her as a very formidable debater. I've been waiting to debate both of you. So if you don't have time today, that's fine. And we'll continue another week. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
Usually at the tail end of a show, we sometimes we get a little frayed because we had a lot of conversations today. So try the call in early. And if I see your name and I'm on, I will make sure to bump you to the top to make sure that you get to talk to me right away.
Well, I hope I get both of you because I actually really want to debate both of you. I've been looking forward to debate. I think you guys are great debaters, and I really, really want to tackle these situations with you. But before I leave, I just want to leave on this note, so hopefully next time when we debate, you'll have some evidence for me. There's no evidence whatsoever. There's no mention whatsoever in the 2015 or the 2017 survey that was published in 2021 where they mention anything whatsoever about same-sex bathrooms. Lux always goes back to these are the two people that she always two incidents that she goes to. She goes to
because they're children,
which was really a non-binary, which you could say trans boy if you want. That got in a fight inside of the girls' bathroom in a high school, and then you also go to Sovereign. And Sovereign had a confrontation with somebody, exchange of words. He got clocked, and then his jaw got broken. These are the two incidences you have. You can't even find 5 instances.
But you don't even.
You don't even have fucking one. Curtis, fuck you. You can't even come up with one example of a cis woman being attacked by a trans person. Get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face.
All right.
Thank you.
I know.
Looking forward to that again in the future.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what the schedule is for September. I know that Jimmy's supposed to be working on it. So we don't have it yet.
We don't have it yet. I did submit my availability, so
yeah, he's working on it.
I'm all freed up now. But anyways, anyways, super chats. Lux is spicy.
I had to get it out of my system because I have to actually see the person that I'm mad at later today.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Better leave it out here than in domestically in the home.
Exactly. Okay, let me move this over and get us on the super chat menu. All right.
All right. And we don't have a silly thing. I don't think you ever put it up.
Oh shit. Yeah, I don't know. Should we just pick one? What's the silly position we have to defend at the end today?
We'll let chat
Tell
start.
me in the chat. What's the silly
Tell me in
position
the
we should
chat, and
defend?
we'll just
I'll
pick
just pick
one
one.
randomly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have William Mattis, $5. This is my only super today. Rolled my dice to see who got, and Lux is covering up the rest of that chat.
I'm trying to move it.
See
I'm
who
sorry.
got the vote. Hashtag Team Lux won.
Why is this happening? Okay. Oh my God. I don't know why this isn't set up. Okay, it's number 10. Here we go. I just gotta move this. Nope. All right, never mind. I'm just gonna fuck her with this in a second. Okay.
Okay. So
hold on.
we'll just
Hold on. I'm just gonna exit this and then put this back. Okay, and then you can finish reading that. Sorry.
No, I can just read them off the line. It's fine.
Okay.
You got the vote on that one.
I got the vote on this one. Okay.
Okay, so next one is, I'll just keep reading them until you're ready.
Yeah.
Myra Featherbender, OM TACIS, oh my TACIS, hi, almost didn't realize it was Thursday. Love your faces. Hashtag Team Josie. Oh, thank you. And I'll keep a tally on paper here.
Yeah, was that one Team Josie? Okay, I'll add it to it.
Yeah.
I have the ability to add to it. I'm just not ready to show it yet.
Okay. All right, I'll keep going then.
Please, thank you.
Next, we have again Myra Featherbender, $10 using there aren't even trans women trying to join the WNBA as a talking point as bad form, in my opinion. It makes it sound like the position would be legitimate if there were trans women applying. Hashtag Team Josie. Exactly. That's what makes it so gross.
Okay.
Next here. Joshua Everett, $5. So I got
Was
2
there a
points.
vote on that last one? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who was
okay. It's me.
Okay, there we go.
Joshua Everett, $5. Hello, I'm having a day. How is everyone else doing? Hashtag Team Josie. I think we're all having a day today.
We're all having a day today. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Will you click
ready?
next and I'll start reading them again? But I can't have the super chats open
Okay,
at the same time as the scoreboard.
I'll click them for you.
Thank you. Joshua with $5, thank you, says, if the Republicans lose the House on election day, the new Congress will not be seated. I believe that the U.S. has seen its last election already. Hashtag Team Josie. I do think that this is extreme doomerism, but I also can see why you believe that. And listen, I'm just going to say that I will not be surprised no matter what happens.
Yeah. There's a lot of little machinations behind the scenes that when we look at the world of so obviously, me being somebody who runs meetings and things like that, there is a rules of order, right? And those rules of order are usually dictated by the person that is in charge, which would be the Speaker of the House. So to have the seating of the people, you would have to have Mike Johnson say, yes, we are going to now bring all these people in, and then the new majority then elects the new speaker. But if there is a way for Mike Johnson to say, I'm not seating these people like he did for the congressional candidate that won that one time, there could be some legal loophole that they could play, but I don't think they can hold it in political administrative limbo for very long. But I do not like the idea of it being challenged. So I can completely understand why you're nervous about it, because we've never seen it, because we've always had rule of law. We've always had rule of order, right? Order in the House, even when we were having duels, and even when people were getting knocked out on the congressional floor in the 1800s, we still had rules of order to keep the freaking government moving forward. But we don't know anymore.
Our norms have broken down in a way that is everything's a little bit crazy at the moment.
Exactly.
Also, I'm just clocking that I was called a formidable debate opponent today. I'm just catching up to that thing that Curtis said. It's okay, I'll take formidable. I like formidable. Let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Luxander the formidable.
Yeah, ooh, the formidable. I like that. Beakers Squeakers, $10. Straight up though, Lux was on stage giving a lecture with their backdrop, LOL. Hashtag Team Engineers and hashtag Team Baby is also on the stage.
I'll read the next super chat and then I'll find her. I'll take the vote for Team Baby. Well, I'm sorry, there was something in there that I wanted to respond to, actually. I don't know what he said.
The lecture in the backdrop.
Oh yeah, I moved my office into a different place, so I've like got the new background set up. That's why I was a little bit late today because I wanted to get my shelves up and everything. So
I
yeah.
used to have backlight like that, but it used to give me a big headache.
This is all the way back. Like this is not on me at all. It's just on the back of the room. So yeah, I've had to downgrade my light here because otherwise it's like I've gotten a migraine before from my photography lights. So I had to get off of those.
It's amazing how quick we lower our lights over time. You can just see how it's like
it starts
it's super like boom, like lights like everywhere.
And then you're like, I'll crank the ISO. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for the £5 from Pip, who says, I've given up on electoral politics to change anything meaningful, so I'm focusing my political activism on local communities instead. Hashtag Team Lux. I think that's what you should be doing. So, I mean, I'm not saying like stop voting in the presidential election, like fucking vote in the presidential election, but focus on local politics. It's going to make a bigger difference.
I'm starting to say you should vote from the bottom up.
Yes.
Like start at the bottom ballot piece and then move your way up to the top of the ticket. Everybody and I think that there should be a law that it inverts it on for people. So we should be voting on propositions in school boards first and then go to city council,
that makes sense.
And then because that way people get an extra look because local politics people are like, oh, I don't know who these people are.
Whatever that thing that's on the back of the page that's actually a fucking law or a new tax or something that people don't even look at it. Like, that should be at top of page.
Yeah, exactly.
With like a paragraph explaining how it works.
Because people are less likely to get fatigued voting for president, but they'll definitely get fatigued voting for school board. So get them to vote for school board first. It's like doing the hard questions on a test first.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, like that's how it works. All right. $5 New Zealand from Kristen Hankey. Harvey, I was bullied as a child and I'm trans. Being bullied held me back from finding myself until I was 49. I did not make me trans. Hashtag Team Josie. And I feel you 100% because I am a late transitioner at 34 myself. So bullying is a hell of a fucking thing. Crawls in our head and never goes away sometimes.
Yeah. Elliot, thank you for the $5. Says, I struggle so hard with my own identity lately. I will call myself agender, but I don't consider myself trans. Thanks for being there, both of you. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah, I know that's a tough spot to be in, and I don't want to ever pressure anybody, but like as far as I'm concerned, the definition of trans includes you. So don't feel like you have stolen valor, but like it's just yet another false dichotomy, right? Like another false binary. You must be either trans or cis. Like, nope, turns out there's some people who are like, I'm neither. So,
yeah. And I'm glad that more people are embracing agender because it's a very important segment of our community. And I think if people were to understand agender better, I think a lot less people would be transphobic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm convinced after doing this show for so long now. Like the people who are just like, why does gender matter? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? It's like because you don't have it.
or it's like it's so in line with you that you've never had to consider it before. Like I think that these people often do have a strong I think that they're lying about like how devastated they would be if they lost their penis or whatever, like anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the people are like, if I woke up as a woman tomorrow, I'd be fine with that.
I'd be fine. Everything would be fine. Like no, you wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't.
You would be like fucked up for months actually, and then maybe you'd be fine at the end of that process.
Yeah, but I do feel like there are some people who answer that question so sincerely. I'm just like, maybe you are. Yeah, it's just like,
we'll test the magic potion on you first.
yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. Chrisman, $2. I don't know how that got there, but I'll read it anyway. Thank you for standing up for what is right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I think I have it set to $2 or more because otherwise it doesn't catch the $4.99 ones.
Oh, okay.
So, but
I've heard it's been fixed.
It wasn't again. At least not on the shows that I'm on.
Oh, okay,
I haven't.
okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I like tried it and was like, nope, it's fucking
All
dropping the
you,
4.99 one
all
still.
those folks that just saving that penny, just saving that penny. It's not worth
I
it.
think it's iPhone. It's like the iPhone just
That's
automatically
fair.
does a
Yeah,
99
yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Pimstein, for the 11 euros or quids or pounds. I can't
It's
really
11
read what that
euros.
is. 11 euros. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Lux, cause spit and fire. Yeah. I hope everybody liked it today. I don't know how I feel about my performance today, but we'll review the tape later.
I was just there for the ride. It
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
ten
You balanced me
dollars.
out nicely. You brought me back down
Yeah,
to earth. Thank you so much
yeah,
for
yeah,
grounding me.
for sure, for sure. Hey, it's been reversed before. All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
$10. Real Marcus Shallows, Spicy Lux, Best Lux.
But no
Thanks,
vote. No
but no
hashtag no
vote.
vote. How could you do
They
this
want
to
you
me?
because they want you to be spicy. It
They,
worked.
oh, that you want me to perform dance, monkey dance. We want you to do
Yeah,
the 2 minutes
yeah.
at the end. Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
no, no, no. Well, not even that. It's just because you got spicy for not getting the hashtag Team Lux, so therefore they got
Oh, I
even
see.
more
I see.
spicy.
They're just triggering me on purpose right now.
Yeah, they
I'm
treat
being
you on
trolled.
purpose.
I see.
You
I see.
are,
Okay.
and you fell for it, hook,
I
line,
did.
and
Oh,
sinker.
how could I?
Yeah, terrible. Thank you for your $10.
Thanks.
$10 from Duke M. Beer money on me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I should get some
Appreciate it.
beers this weekend. That would be lovely.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, yes.
Thank you, Jackie Be Quick, for the $5, who says, just want to say I love Josie even more for saying those data. Hashtag Team Josie. Yeah. There's lots of little things like that that bug me. Like when people say a myriad of, it's not. It's not a myriad of, it's just myriad. There are myriad of that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Anyway.
Uh,
Oh, that
it's
was
those
hashtag Team Josie.
datas.
Make sure I get that
It's,
on there.
it's those datas.
Hmm.
Your parents shades sex. $5 Canadian from hashtag Team Rage Quit Lux. Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
you had 2 rage quits today. That's the most I've seen you have in one show.
Yeah, you know what? This is called being responsible with your BPD. It's called taking a step to take a breather, refilling your water, taking a little walk, taking a little turnabout, you know?
That's fair.
Thank you very much.
Uh,
Black
uh,
Helm,
yeah,
I don't know whose it is to read anymore.
I think
I'm
it's
losing
you.
my
It's
mind.
you.
$5 from Black Helm, who says, I came across the term finsexual lately. Are you familiar with that term? And would that be considered part of the queer community?
Are we talking
Uh,
about Finn the streamer?
I don't think so. There's two ends. Fin has two
Oh, that's
ends.
true. That's true. That's true.
What does finsexual mean? A micro label describing an exclusive attraction to people who are feminine in nature.
Why change it? Why not just be sapphic?
Yeah, sapphic already exists.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, even sapphic has been like kind of bastardized because Sappho was bisexual, and then now sapphic is like synonymous with women loving women, but Sappho is bisexual. Isn't that funny?
Well, I think it's just slowly dipping the toe in the water of being. It's like I'm Sappho. I still like guys sometimes, but really I love women.
It's that like the difference between romantic and sexual attraction. Like I'm technically sexually attracted to men, but romantically I'm never going there again.
Oh,
Anyway,
I
I don't
feel
think you
that.
need this.
Oh, I feel that.
Feminine in nature feels, I don't know, it's like weird. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
just say you're into femmes. Why do you need to make a whole sexuality label around it? I think that we need to, it's like it almost feels like pathologizing at this point. Stop it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Another $2 sneaks in. Thank you for calling out those bigoted dudes.
You can just skip those.
I know. I can't help it. I click them.
Majora's Casket with the $5. Curtis needs to have his ego checked. Holy shit. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I always forget, like, they might call back later. So, like, with how much I yelled at him, he might call back later, and then I have to talk to somebody I just yelled at a bunch.
I know. You got to
Anyway.
put it on. You have to put it on ice. You need
Yeah.
to chill.
Mhm.
You just gotta... Mama Theory, $10. Listening at work, and Curtis genuinely had me seeing red. Love the stream though. Y'all are on fire. Hashtag Team Lux.
Thank you. Thank you. Darren with the 5 Australian. Thank you. Sex, the act, and sex, the biology are different words. Just like mean and mean aren't the same word. It's cruel girls, not average girls. Hashtag Team Lux. Thank you.
Yeah. I know it's a funny semantic sentence, but I like it. It always makes me laugh. QQ or Kiki or whatever. $4.99. The trans boy that Curtis brought up was Next Benedict. Even the policy abused him before his death. Rest in power, Next. Hashtag Team Lux. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why I bring up those examples, and it's because it's two examples of a trans person doing what people think they should be doing as far as bathrooms go, and it's children, so it's emotionally impactful, and
Yeah,
one of
it
them
is
died and the
painful.
other one had a broken face. So it matters
There's so many.
that violence was put upon them, and like it is, it matters that they died because of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so
Foreign.
much. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't
Yeah,
remember whose turn it is.
I think it was you, but I can do it. Trans Leona, 4. Why am I saying that so much? 4.99. Computer is gonna cost me 8.90 to repair. It's a myriad of problems, but a trans girl needs her rig. Team Lou Tash team hashtag Team Josie.
You fake out. Why would you do
Fake
that to
out.
me?
Fake out.
Are we almost done?
And we almost done.
Ooh.
You're
Jessica with the 5 quid. I like finsexual because my girlfriend is Finnish. Hashtag Team Josie. That's funny.
Oh, that is
There's
good.
all kinds of sex jokes that you can make.
Yeah, that's a good one. We have $5 from Melton Ali. I was on a work call most of the show, but take my money. Hashtag Team Josie. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And I almost got completely blown out, but
you came back at the end. Was that it?
I did. That's it. That's
okay.
it.
Well, then.
Oh, what did we? I wasn't paying attention to what we should be arguing.
So I decided to go with the one that's popped out at me in chat, which is that Tim Curry was the OG transsexual.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, are you ready?
Man. This is a tough one for me. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're charging up the clock in 3, 2, 1, go.
And if you don't know, Tim Curry unfortunately passed yesterday, along with Dolly Parton. They were both born in the same year, which is also very interesting that that's the way it works. Why the good ones always taken. Anyways, Tim Curry, amazing human being, was incredibly supportive of our community, and is known for his seminal role in playing Rocky Horror Picture Show, that on the movie version, and fucking played the hell out of that role, which would make anyone question that man's sexual journey and gender journey as a whole. Because boy, when you watch that, you're just like, that is the art of a person that has thought more than just acting that role, but living that role. And that's what Tim Curry always brought forward. And he was either an incredibly talented actor, which he was, or he was so incredibly talented that it actually turned him into a trans woman for that series of time, to make them be as incredible as they were. So yeah, Tim Curry brought light to a lot of people in the world, and really brought the idea of transness and when back then, especially transsexual, and when that term was more used, and normalized it for a lot of people. Tim Curry's performance made that a cult classic and will leave an indelible mark in our queer community as a whole. And, Tim Curry needs to rest in power for everything that he contributed to our community as a whole. So, maybe not so much of a defense of a prompt, or more of an honoring of Tim Curry under that, because Tim Curry was a genuinely good human being.
Yeah. After all the attention on Dolly, though, I was like, we need some love for.
Yeah.
I want to go back and watch like Fern Gully and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fern Gully is like, that's when like kids saw real animation, like real animation that actually had a message.
Yeah.
Like Ferngully almost didn't happen because corporations didn't like the message that it gave. And Robin Williams, almost
Oh.
he wasn't allowed to, he barely was able to even play in it because Disney almost pulled him from that contract, even though it wasn't a
Oh.
Disney film. But it was like, it was a really interesting thing that like Robin Williams said, fuck you, Disney, I'm gonna do this animation and this voice acting because the message that Ferngully had was so powerful. So
That's cool.
if you haven't seen Ferngully, if you're a youngin in here and it's before after your time, go and watch it. It is really good.
Yep.
It's really, really good. Anyways.
Well, I am going to be on Calling It Now in a moment, so stick around and we'll send you there. Yeah.
Bye, friends.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
why is it so loud?
Because AI.
Yeah. Yeah. The AI. Anyway, go to patreon.com/calltheline if you want to support us. Make sure that LineCon happens in person someday and also see LineCon online at the $15 tier. Go there.
And I'm going to be all over the line doing so many shows now. Yay!
Okay, bye.